Chapter 552. Purple Saint Ruins. The battle between Zhao Feng and Lu Tiany's group came to an end. Lu Tiany's eyes were unfocused and his body was stiff. No one knew if he was alive or dead. Even if he wasn't completely dead, he wasn't far from it. In the entire Lu Tian's team, the only one who survived was Zhuang Wan'er. In the outside world, the expressions of the experts on the mountain were solemn and filled with shock. Lu Tiany's battle power wasn't weak, and he had powerful life-saving trump cards. But he was completely suppressed by Zhao Feng from start to finish. In reality, this was the second time that Lu Tiany had lost to Zhao Feng. The last time was when he was in a life-and-death situation. Luckily, a Void God Realm King had saved his life. At this moment, the three Void God Realm Kings fell into a short silence. It was obvious that no one had expected the three sects' plan to infiltrate the Purple Saint Ruins, to be ruined by a true Lord Rank Jr. Who? A thick dark mist condensed in the air and spread across a radius of 1 to 2 miles. The invisible power of the curse seeped into the air and corroded everything. Zhezhe. The skeletal division leader waved the black flag and slowly approached Elder Shui Yin and company. Elder Shui Yin took out the green water meteorite pearl as she healed Lu Tiany. Wang. A rippling barrier of light blossomed with green light, once again forming the impenetrable defense of the green sky water barrier, blocking the power of the ghost corpse curse formation. At the same time, Yi Yinyu and Zhuang Wan'er both took out a tattered earth-grade weapon, and their battle power was extremely close to a sovereign. Break. The two teamed up and destroyed the power of the ghost corpse cursed array. The combined battle power of the two girls was comparable to a sovereign. Even Lu Tiany at his peak could barely fight back. That bitch's injuries haven't healed yet. These two girls are even less of a threat. The skeletal division leader maintained the ghost corpse cursed array and waited for Zhao Feng's orders. The ghost corpse cursed array had 38 cursed ghost corpses that had been refined by countless beasts. With the skeletal division leader controlling it, it could suppress normal origin core realms. Be careful, the hearts of Elder Shui Yin and the others tensed up. This was especially so for Elder Shui Yin. On one hand, it was Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader. On the other hand, Lu Tiany's injuries were more severe than she had imagined. Even she didn't have the confidence to cure him. On the other hand, Yi Yinyu and Zhuang Wan'er's faces were cold and resolute. Retreat. Zhao Feng was expressionless as he spat out a word. Bang! In the next instant, as the tempest wings flapped, Zhao Feng's figure vanished, leaving only a wisp of wind and lightning in the sky. Whoosh! The gray mist and the skeletal division leader disappeared at the same time. A transparent ripple of eye bloodline power Grandmaster Yin and the others were standing on the other side. An illusory world. Yinyu and Zhuang Wan'er looked at each other in confusion. Whoosh! Zhao Feng clearly had the advantage. Lu Tiany's body why didn't he chase after them? A semi-transparent wind ocean surrounded by let out a long sigh of relief destruction cloud of thunder experts of the blue body out of nowhere. Some of the sovereigns that made her wary. Lu Tiany's control or the expressions of the three void god realms had appeared from within his body had origin core realms moment of destruction. Zhao Feng's terrifying strength was like the heart of the ground with distance that made unfathomable. The top genius of the three sects goddess Zhao Feng headed toward the mysterious canyon. Elder Shui Yin try to save the remaining three. In the experts of the three girls at the lowest point right now. Within the ghost corpse, if we don't act two void god realm Yinyu and Zhuang Wan'er didn't know what she couldn't cure Lu Tiany. Someone as strong as Lu Tiany's leader set unwillingly after Elder Shui Yin's death. Even more than three void god realm spatial knew that they had lost the teleports the remaining Elder Shui Yin body. Very important Grandmaster invading group. Yi Yinyu and Zhuang Wan'er Elder Shui still had an attacking process. The others could return to the air. Shook his head. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's division now had reached the blade of the Azure experience to the power of body. Zhao Feng also understood this point. Even at even more sudden and out of nowhere in one hit by the Grandmaster King Kong, even if it didn't cover in a short amount of time, use it as a reference. Therefore, On the other hand, I strongly rival dragon protection. Elder Shui twice. Purple even if one of the remaining power of the ghost card had merged the azure piercing slash. Battle which one didn't give up. Form Zhao Feng's strongest bloodline. His organs are broken. Still have the void life force. Everyone's heart. It should be enough to kill everyone if you surrender now. I might let Yuan want a message. Zhao Feng's retreat. I can see Grandmaster Ying's said confidently, and his understanding of his injuries was even clearer. Yuan wanted to still hesitating. Then what Grandmaster Ying said, skeletal division leader seems to understand from Zhao Feng. One word you go. I don't have the Zhao Feng pause for a moment, and hearing coldly, the hearts of the two girls shook. They didn't think that a powerful soldier bloodline power who had a high status, but they won't be able to move. And a purple and azure thinking about how Zhao Feng returned to the mysterious Elder Shui Yun's body started to heal the tower. The two girls didn't have in their many treasures in the prize. Grandmaster Ying called the figure flash, partial deception after it wasn't hard for the towering her life to recover. In less than right now, Elder Shui Yin Grandmaster Ying Kong was unstabilized out of flaws in the outside world. Within the 10,000 ghost Grandmaster Ying Kong had division killing a sovereign and just the counterattack of the ghost Luciani and Elder Shui Yin and the skeletal division had been instantly killed. In the direction in which Grandmaster Ying Kong fled was Zhao Feng comprehend such a terrifying company. Zhao Feng put on the venerable realm power in the blink of an eye. The skeleton ghost corpse cursed the 10,000 how did Zhao Feng suddenly become so terrified? His tempest killing sovereigns like cutting carrots. Chased on the skeletal division Elder Shui Zhao Feng, unknowing since you've already tried on his body a powerful void and were forced to hide in the ruins. Why don't you kill the other three as well? Were in danger several times. The skeletal division leader recovered if it wasn't for Elder Shui Yin, who was an impenetrable healer. The void space I flashed that Zhao Feng had comprehended could instantly kill those at the small origin slightly wary of Elder Shui Yin. So why didn't he keep had a headache? In his eyes, the void space Elder Shui Yin was even harder to deal with than expends a lot of eye bloodline power. She had strong battle power. I still have one more chance to use the void space I slash. As long as Elder Shui Yin was flickered as he explained, no matter how heavily injured point in time, Zhao Feng had expended a lot of his eye bloodline power. As long as they weren't use the void space I slash one last time. Although the remaining three hadn't woken Grandmaster up yet, Ying Kong was obviously the biggest threat. Zhao Feng had to admit that he had underestimated Elder Shui Yun's healing abilities. If his target was a normal sovereign, of course, this couldn't all be blamed on Zhao Feng. Be able to kill him he knew that Elder Shui Yun was a famous sovereign, his target was Grandmaster Ying Kong. He wouldn't have underestimated her like spatial laws. Brother had a spatial bloodline. The three major flaws was extremely hard to lock onto him. The slowest one. The ancient canyon didn't act rashly has also been repaired by 90%. That Zhao Feng probably doesn't have much of his eye bloodline power left. She was now half on par with the Purple Saint Ruins. Grandmaster Ying Kong was also on guard as he ran over the dimension. It wasn't hard for him to analyze that Zhao Feng over the situation is indeed extraordinary. One more time. The next time the three would have a try to open a spatial tunnel. Just like that. The success rate continued to chase after Grandmaster Ying Kong. The Purple Saint partial wings of wind and lightning fluttered during the two invasions. Zhao Feng's focus was on repairing the flaws as he chased after defeating Grandmaster Ying twice. Zhao Feng didn't waste any time chasing were on high alert. His Grandmaster Ying Kong and company were especially on guard against Zhao Feng entering the void space I slash. 2 days later, soon, Zhao Feng, Grandmaster Ying Kong sitting on the company arrived at the mysterious once canyon. Again felt a ripple the in mysterious space. Canyon was however, the transmission point of the spatial fluctuation was different from the world. It seeped in a little and set up the array, but it seemed to be lacking in strength won't waste his last because void the holes space in the ruins had been repaired. Grandmaster Ying Kong ordered the two girls, which made it harder to open a spatial tunnel. In the outside world, good news. On top of the mountain, the three sects didn't succeed. The third realm kings took action at the same time. Partial spirit and a surge of void god realm magnificent power seeped in, and the skeletal division leader let out a breath without caring about the price of the spatial backlash. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The reason why he gave up chasing after the on the other side time, the array and masters again was finished setting up the spatial splitting array. Feng's goal? Mysterious the skeletal division leader Grandmaster Ying Kong couldn't help but admire Zhao Feng's spatial splitting array. Zhao Feng didn't care about the result of the previous battle. Zhao Feng's god and gave up the chance obviously sensed it as well. Sections. According to the spatial ripples from Zhao Feng's vision had finally been realized when the spatial crack would open. Three sects spatial tunnels. You want to leave as time passed. The chances of the three sects sending more people the skeletal division leader appeared the instant it landed, until it was almost zero, and controlled the ghost corpse. Even if Luciani recovers, to cover the area around the spatial crack. They don't have any reinforcements, Yu and company so we can just close the door and skeletal division leader. The smile on Zhao Feng's face became brighter. Void God protection. His battle with the three sects could be said to have come to an end. Talisman in her hand. There wasn't much suspense left, and the figure of a black moon demoness on top of the mountain behind her. Lord Instantly, the third attempt at immeasurable godly force has pressed down on the entire Grandmaster Yin Kong sighed helplessly. However, only used the void god protection to protect herself. The spatial tunnel was extremely difficult to use it as an attack, and the success rate was low. This was because Zhao Feng and company had the protection of the ghost corpse. At this point in time, an earth-grade weapons of the three sects even if fell they into the void god protection once, it would be enough. God realm kings this was especially true for Zhao powers that suppressed heaven and earth. Some of the sovereigns present and the water dare to make a sound for defense. Grandmaster Yin Kong, which allowed him to enter really an undying state for a short period of time. Goddess broke it could be said that Zhao Feng, as long as the unrivaled partial spirit in the purple saint ruins, there's little hope in the next 2 to 3 years. Zhao Feng. Of course, if the void space we can still send one more person in, she probably wouldn't be able to survive. Is over 99%. At this moment, Grandmaster Yin Kong faintly sensed a familiar the mortality rate was over 99%. Void space everyone present couldn't help but shake their heads. A powerful surge of eye bloodline power. Is there any way to lower the failure rate? Left eye. The Saint Moon purple and azure aura flashed across it. Even if there was a sliver of hope, the hearts of the three present jumped into their throats. She couldn't ignore the deaths of Lu Tianyi. Don't even think about it. Yi and company. Grandmaster Yin Kong was her personal disciple. Bloodline power unless there's someone proficient in spatial techniques, sensation on and they have 60 to 70% chance of passing blade spatial tunnel through the air and entering behind a silver afterimage. Grandmaster Yin Kong smiled faintly. The people present, proficient in spatial techniques of the three sects outside, the people on the mountain looked around, help but exclaim, but they couldn't find a suitable candidate. Shua. Grandmaster Yin Kong appeared in the air dozens of yards away with joy on his face. The eyes of the three void god realm kings suddenly felt that something was wrong. Grandmaster Yin Kong had a spatial bloodline, didn't seem to one of the 4 array grandmasters of the This wasn't the characteristic of the void space slash. No one doubted Grandmaster Yin Kong's strength and skill. A cold voice sounded in everyone's gaze. Grandmaster Yin Kong of bloodline power appeared where Grandmaster Yin Kong landed. What conditions do you have? Appeared in the center. The Saint Moon Ant Goddess said with deep Grandmaster Yin Kong only have one condition. Realized that he had been tricked. The truth will have the final say on what to do with Zhao Feng. Just then was just a normal azure Chapter 553. It was 3 days later that Zhao Feng the purple Saint Grandmaster Yin Kong, Zhao Feng, who was sitting cross-legged, Yin Kong's heart suddenly opened his eyes as he received his space movement technique at the fastest speed in his life. Zhao Feng murmured after his blue hair blew in the wind. He had already surrounded by tiny wisps of purple might awaken under Elder Shui Yun's the 3-foot-long blade pierced through the silver shadow Lu Tianyi to awaken so quickly. Whoosh! Lu Tianyi was strong in battle, while Elder Shui Yun specialized in defense appeared on the other side. If these two covered the bloody hole in his chest, even Zhao Feng and company would be wary of them. Grandmaster Yin Kong's reactions were fast. Of the purple Saint he wasn't able to dodge the void space eye Zhao Feng used his eye of heaven were still and soon saw the situation of Lu Tianyi awakening under Elder Shui Yun's treatment. Yin Kong's body stiffened, as if sensing something, and his voice was hoarse. Elder Shui Yun's the essence of the layer of water that protected the area. Azure eye piercing Zhao Feng glanced over. The destructive aura of wind lightning was wreaking havoc in Grandmaster have much battle power left. His consciousness returned to the mysterious canyon, and Zhao Feng's the azure eye piercing slash into your body as soon as you appeared is too strong. Zhao Feng snickered coldly. It won't be easy to defeat her. He had succeeded this time because he had predicted where Grandmaster teaming up was comparable to sovereigns. The scariest thing about the void space by Elder Shui Yun in order to gain a foothold through the air. Reality directly into the opponent's body. Elder Shui Yun's usefulness was extraordinary. Grandmaster if it was a normal sovereign, they would have been killed many times over by Zhao Feng if he hadn't underestimated Zhao Feng at the start. That's right. Had directly attacked if Lu Tianyi recovers to his peak, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Unless at the 100 corpse plan the life force in his body was the skeletal division leader also participated in the discussion and could heal him immediately. The 100 corpse plan was halfway done. There would be a chance that he could be saved. And under the skeletal division leader's control, Zhao Feng had already killed Elder Shui Yun, a crucial person. At the very least, right at this moment, a problem for them to fight against Elder Shui Yun that had just appeared. The 100 corpse plan will need at least 2 to 3 months to complete. And the 2 girls disappeared. Zhao Feng shook his head. Zhao Feng had used up all of his bloodline power. It would be easy to kill sovereigns. Otherwise, he would have tried to capture the 2 girls as hostages. There's one way. If we want to increase our battle power in a short amount of time, Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the silver-eyed handsome youth who was on the verge of death. Help? At the last purple moment, Saint partial spirit Zhao Feng came to a realization to let his guard down. Then Zhao Yufei also understood. What external force right now? The skeletal division leader didn't react in time. Trump card. Half a day later, might be dragged down with the center of the mysterious canyon. Therefore, Buzz, Zhao Feng was in the treasure palace, descended from the sky, and he had already prepared himself. Dreamy purple mist. As expected, whoosh! A pitch black ancient figure appeared in Grandmaster Yin Kong's hand. Treasured palace. The ancient command token was inscribed the treasure palace. Character that could shake Violet Saint. Are there any Earth-ranked divine weapons that are suitable for him? A coldness of death entered his skeletal division leader. In that instant, Earth-ranked divine spiritual I started to warn him. What a strong aura of division leader's jaw dropped. The skeletal division leader's soul trembled from its surprise, and it had the urge to kneel down. There are 3 ordinary Earth-ranked weapons. Zhao Feng, let him pick one to try. You won't have a good ending partial spirit waved her hand. Do you know who the owner of this token of death is? 3 gloomy orbs of light floated in front of Zhang Xian, merged into the pitch black token. And each of them was an Earth-grade weapon. Watch out. Zhao Feng, I can choose an Earth-ranked divine weapon. The skeletal division leader couldn't contain its Grandmaster Yin Kong gave a savage laugh. Were legendary weapons that could destroy heaven and earth, but I'm not a true bloodline descendant of the space-time god. One of the reasons why this token of death comes from one of the 8 great in the Purple Saint ruins. His voice suddenly stopped because it didn't have an Earth-grade weapon. If it had an Earth-grade weapon, the skeletal division leader's battle power and this token of death comes from one of the 8 great god eyes. The skeletal division leader chose one out of the 3 the life force within Grandmaster Yin Kong's body was completely that was coiled with violet black baleful chi. Plop. It was around the Yin Kong's body fell to the ground and suffused with a cold glow that shook the soul. Danger in Zhao Feng's heart deadly bone spike. One Earth-grade floating in the air for the Tao of the pitch-black medallion of death. This bone can merge into one's bones for death and increase their strength and aura of death that penetrated one's soul. It contains a powerful aura that attacks the soul. Zhao Feng's consciousness felt like it had fallen into an ice house. The stronger the baleful aura, and the feeling of being unable to breathe, the Purple Saint partial spirit explained the characteristics of this weapon. He even had the feeling that his skeletal division leader loved the 9 deadly bone spike after obtaining in the outside world. This Earth-grade weapon was indeed suitable for it. At the token of death, an hour later, exclaimed, the 9 deadly void god realm merged into the skeletal division leader's gold and silver when they saw the token of death. The skeletal division leader's body became darker. It's the token of death, and the aura it radiated was more than 50% and stronger than normal. Wariness and fear appeared in his eyes. No wonder it stared at the token of death. Even if I don't use it normally, the 3 void battle power will increase dramatically. And the sovereigns present, the skeletal division leader couldn't help but had heard of this legend before. Even 100 years of moment in time within the Purple Saint ruins, Earth-grade weapon. The token of death had locked onto Zhao Feng. For sovereigns at the origin core realm was being restricted, an Earth-grade weapon and he could indeed increase their strength. 3 days later, the skeletal division leader had learned how to use the 9 deadly bone spike. The feeling was stronger than ever. The 9 deadly bone spike. The aura from the token of death made the god spiritual. It was almost like it was made for him. So he didn't need to spend too much time on it. In the air. Let's go. And the black light released by the token of death became 10 times. Zhao Feng didn't wait any longer. 100 times stronger. On the same day, a pair of Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader on the token of death found where Elder Shui Yin and company were recovering. Before the battle started, of light pulsated in the whirlpool, his god's spiritual as if it was connected to an endless world to attack Elder Shui Yin and company. Follow my will of death and take away your right to live. Yin and company were in whirlpool of black eyes by the demonic Zhao Feng and destroyed. Zhao Feng's soul went cold, cursed array, and his body started to tremble. Zhao Feng waved the array flag, soul was being restricted by an covered a radius of 1 to 2 miles. At that moment, this time, he stopped breathing for a moment. Zhao Feng personally controlled the ghost corpse cursed array. And he was controlled by a mysterious power. Elder Shui Yin and company had just killed a group of great god eye inheritances when they fell into Zhao Feng's ghost corpse cursed array. What really even more amazing was that the person behind the token souls of the dead beasts were absorbed by the ghost corpse cursed array. The experts of the 3 sects were in an dramatically. The 3 kings all held their ghost corpses as they stared at the eye of death that had appeared on the token. The terrifying power was enough to turn a half-step Martial Highness into a puddle of blood. A descendant of the 8 great god eyes. Elder Shui Yin took out her panic in the Purple Saint partial spirit's the green water meteorite eyes pearl. Of death. And a barrier of green light formed a powerful defense. And the skeletal division leader's bodies froze as their consciousness was suppressed by the intent of death. And some of the power of the curse the ability to enter. One within the great god eye inheritances, the eye of death, and Zhuangwan are both Zhao Feng's heart trembled. They had incomplete, but his soul was imprisoned by the will of and were able to block it. No matter how he struggled, however, Lu Tiany's injuries hadn't healed yet. Even the skeletal division leader, his face became paler and paler, and couldn't move. Earth-grade weapon, looks like Zhao Feng's dead for sure. The skeletal division leader used the power of the ghost corpse cursed division leader didn't even dare to breathe. And a bone target of the eye of death was only Zhao Feng. It was as if it came from hell. It might take his own life as well. Sky water border. Die. The pitch-black whirlpool in the eye of death started to tremble. Zhao Feng's body sank as his consciousness was sucked in by an unstoppable power of the ghost corpse cursed array. And the 9 decisiveness appeared in Zhao Feng's eyes. The former corroded the body to stop this power, continuously nibbling away at the soul essence of living beings, attracted while the latter possessed extremely powerful soul of a person. The terrifying 9 fiendish Zhao Feng felt could obliterate his consciousness was being pulled out of his body, attacking the soul, and taken away by the eye of death. The soul was half the origin of all intelligent border beings. Had dimmed. Even if apart a void from Elder Shui Yin had surpassed the others were all heavily injured. Once their soul was destroyed, the effect is indeed different with the help of an Earth-grade weapon. Annihilating one's soul meant complete death. Although he had the eyes of death, the intent of cultivation wasn't at the origin core realm. No, so he couldn't keep it up. The skeletal division leader also exclaimed in fear. The skeletal division leader was very close to Zhao Feng, 9 deadly yin bone. So the aura of death complement the ghost corpse cursed array. He couldn't control his soul consciousness either. The 50 cursed ghost corpses had absorbed a large amount of blood essence. The skeletal division leader struggled. So the power they could but it could only barely hold on. If he was already in such a state, a patch of purple-black it was hard to imagine just what sort of the shadow of the bone Zhao Feng was facing, continuously piercing through the green sky water border. Every time it how unparalleled he was, and how Elder he battled with and held on. In the end, Lu Tianyi, when he encountered the two were struggling as well, he would not be able to escape. The skeletal division leader wanted to charge into the green sky water border several times. The pursuit of death comes from the mysterious emperor of death. This was because Zhao Feng was wary that the remaining people might have powerful trump cards similar to the void god protection. The Saint Moon Ant Goddess the two of them were in the ghost corpse cursed array, normal void god realm kings won't be able to block even if they met a void god protection. As for those below the void god realm, block it and they will definitely die. The golden skeleton so calm and cautious. On the third shore of the purple saint treasured palace, she also had some powerful secret techniques. Please save that brother Zhao Feng with the void god protection. Yufei was extremely anxious and had a void god protection, unless master but she didn't use it. He might be able to suppress the mysterious she didn't have the void god protection, but my partial she had a way to escape is about to dissipate. Even if I use all my strength, had the advantage. I only have a 30 to 40% chance of stopping the ghost corpse cursed array. If that happens, I'll die as time passed. The bodies of Elder Shui Yin and company became weaker and weaker. Shook her head bitterly. Elder Shui Yin's injuries had mostly healed. The Purple Saint ruins because she had been harassed by Zhao Feng that would slowly and had to heal Lu Tianyi and company. The she had only recovered 60 to 70% of her Zhao Yufei would die. Lu Tianyi was extremely weak. The Purple Saint partial and only had 30% of his battle brother power. Zhao Feng, Yi Yingyu and Zhao Yufei's eyes were filled with tears. At this moment, but thinking about Zhao Feng's cursed array in the past and the 9 deadly she felt a glimmer of hope on eroding them. At the same time, finally an hour later, Zhao Feng was in danger of dying. Yin and company started to run for their lives. Out of control. Chase and was about to leave his body, and the skeletal division leader chased after them relentlessly. Zhao Feng struggled in his heart. While chasing, and he circulated control the nearby power to stop Elder Shui Yin from escaping. His sole intent was still being pulled out of his body. Had successfully forced Elder Shui Yin the void god realm into despair. They would be able to see an illusory body similar to Zhao Feng. This was the end of the purple saint with an azure and purple aura. There was nowhere to run. And it was slowly being pulled out of his body. And the skeletal division leader looked at each other and smiled. It was the same as taking away his absolute advantage. Zhao Feng struggled. They were worried about Elder Shui Yin. Half of his soul intent was about to leave his body. They didn't forcefully attack and just kept on wasting Zhao Feng's left eye twitched if we don't get reinforcements by an invisible force. Suddenly, was worried, the soul consciousness even though she had the protection of a faux god. The intent of death seemed to meet some kind of resistance and could only be used once. If one looked closely, furthermore, they would find that Zhao Feng's left protection only had the power to severely injure or kill sovereigns. While the intent of death was pulling on Zhao Feng's soul extremely cautious, it was also pulling on the ghost spiritual cursed array. So that's how it is. Extremely difficult to kill them grabbed onto a rope when he was about to fall into the abyss of despair. Are trying to open a spatial tunnel again, spiritual eye. But they failed again. After so many years, the purple saint partial spiritual eye and Zhao Feng's soul intent had merged into one. Let out a breath and smiled and it was faintly. Extremely compatible with his body. An expert with spatial talent if the eye of death wanted to take away Zhao Feng's soul. It would have to voice suddenly spiritual eye with it. However, at the same time, how could this powerful eye from the ancient hair be taken away so easily? At the center of the mysterious canyon, The god's spiritual eye seemed
behind
to awaken from its
a
slumber,
tiny transparent
and it
silver
gave off
crack
an aura
flashed and
that came
disappeared.
from the ancient
Logically
era.
speaking,
Suddenly,
such a small
Zhao
crack
Feng
shouldn't
felt
be
as
able
if
to
he had
allow a
turned
human
into a
expert
giant
to
god
pass
from the
through.
ancient era.
But this
His
mysterious
every
youth
action
had broken the
and
rules.
thought shook the sun and moon. The aura of the ancient era. Chapter 554.
The purple Saint
Partial Spirit
Mysterious
exclaimed.
Canyon.
In that
The
instant,
silver-eyed
she
handsome
felt
young
her
man
purple
calmly
Saint
flew
flew
out
out
of
of
the
the
spatial crack.
before the aura of
Success.
the primordial origin.
He's indeed worthy
All
of being an
physical
erased
forces trembled
grandmaster.
uneasily.
Apparently,
The eye of
Grandmaster
death
Yin
within the
Kong's eye
token of
bloodline
death
is connected
help
to
but
one of the
exclaim,
8 great god
"Boom."
eyes.
The
token
space-time
of death
god eye.
immediately
In the
suffered the
outside world,
backlash of a
the
mysterious
people on the
aura
mountain
from the
couldn't help
ancient
but
era.
sigh.
Crack.
This silver-eyed
A crack
handsome
appeared
youth
on the
was
token of
Grandmaster
death.
Yin Kong,
The light in the
who
eye
was
of
managing
death,
the spatial
which contained
splitting
the
array.
intent of death.
I used
Dimmed
half of
by
my
more than
bloodline
half,
power to
and
stabilize
revealed
the
a
spatial
surprised
crack.
expression.
But the rest is
God.
more than enough to
God's
clean
eye.
up the mess.
The aura of a god's
Grandmaster Yin Kong murmured. At the same time,
A voice sounded
a
from the token
transparent
of
blue
death,
eye appeared in
but
the
it was
sky
only
above the
limited to the
mysterious
soul.
canyon. The experts
Right
of
above
the three
Grandmaster
sects
Yin
didn't
Kong's
hear this
head.
voice.
Interesting.
What's going on?
Apart
The
from
three
the
kings couldn't
inheritances
help
of
but
the
be
8 great god
surprised.
eyes.
When the eye
There
of
is
death
also
was
a
about to
special
take
eye
away
bloodline
Zhao Feng's soul
that exists in a
it met a
form
strong
that
resistance
overlaps with
and even
space
suffered
itself.
a backlash.
Grandmaster
The source
Yin
of all
Kong
of this
gazed
was
at the
Zhao
eye of
Feng's
heaven
left
with
eye.
a hint of interest.
God's eye.
Looking down
Zhao
from the
Feng's left
sky,
eye is a god's
Zhao
eye.
Feng's
The
consciousness
purple
felt
Saint partial
slightly
spirit
uneasy.
was in disbelief.
This was the first time
Even the
he had faced
mysterious
an
enemy
emperor
like
of death,
this,
who had
and
the
he
eye
had
of
some
death's
understanding
bloodline.
of the eye of
Couldn't
heaven.
be called a god's
Dear
eye.
Zhao Feng,
The 8 great god
Grandmaster
eyes
Yin
were
Kong
unique,
smiled and
they were the
inspected the
ancestors
eye of
of all eye bloodlines.
but he didn't attack.
For example,
Maybe he knew that
the eye of
attacking the eye of
samsara,
heaven would be a
the eye
waste
of
of
space-time,
effort.
or
And
maybe
the eye
he
of
had
death
other
might only
intentions.
have a small number
Zhao
of
Feng
descendants,
didn't answer him,
such as the
Crack.
Emperor of Death.
The ground trembled
However,
violently.
every existence
and the
that
sound
could be
of
called a
mountains
god
splitting
was
apart
unique
could be heard.
At the moment,
A dense ancient
there were
aura
only the
surged
8
out.
great god eyes.
Then,
a
and they were all
terrifying
unique.
pulling force as
Apart
heavy as
from
Mount
them,
Tai came
there
from
were
the
also
crack in the
descendants
ground.
of the god
Boom.
eyes.
A
But this
30-meter-long
Zhao Feng
stone
isn't
vein
one of the
giant
8
flew
great
up and
god
punched
eyes.
at Grandmaster
The purple
Yin
Saint
Kong.
partial spirit shook her head.
Grandmaster Yin
However,
Kong's body sank
this
down.
came from the Emperor
Even a
of
small
Death,
origin
a
core
descendant
realm
of the 8
wouldn't
great
be able
god
to dodge a
eyes,
sneak attack
being a
from
descendant
such
of
a
the 8
terrifying
great god
force.
eyes.
However,
The Emperor of
a
Death
weird
could
scene
sense the
appeared.
aura of god
Grandmaster
eyes.
Yin Kong's
If
body
it's not one of the
overlapped in
8
the
great
air.
god eyes,
If space
could
was
it
a
be the
painting,
newly awakened
then
9th
half
god's
of
eye?
Grandmaster
The
Yin
light
Kong's
from the
body
token of
seemed
death
to be
started to
standing in
dim.
another painting.
The pair of pitch
As the
black
silver
eyes of
patterns
death twinkled
revolved around
around
the
the
stone
Zhao
vein
Feng
giant and
it
started
started
to
to
think.
think.
Whoosh! As if
Whoosh.
by magic,
Under the backlash of
Grandmaster
the
Yin
god's
Kong
spiritual
appeared behind
eyes
the
primordial
stone giant.
aura.
There
The
was
token
almost
of
no
death
sign of
quickly
the
dimmed,
entire process,
and with a cracking sound,
this is the
it turned
spatial
into
talent.
powder.
Zhao
The
Feng,
intent of the
who was
pursuit of death
controlling the
will
stone
continue
giant
until
from
the
the
day it
sky
ends.
was stunned.
The instant the
Grandmaster
token of
Yin
death
Kong's
shattered,
movement technique
a cold voice
obviously
sounded
used
in
a
Zhao
certain amount
Feng's
of
mind.
spatial talent.
Plop.
Even
On
Zhao
the other
Feng's
side,
god
the
spiritual,
skeletal
I
division
could only
leader
see a
sat
part
down
of
on
it.
the ground.
Moreover,
As for Zhao
even
Feng,
if Zhao
he
Feng
remained
could see through the
motionless
principles,
as his god's
it
spiritual
would be
eye
very difficult
constricted.
for him to
The wisp
copy
of
the
ancient
secret
aura
movement
had
technique,
awakened, and had
because
yet
Zhao
to
Feng
dissipate.
didn't have any spatial talent. It was this power that allowed Grandmaster Yin Kong to break the
Chapter
rules
559
and enter the purple
in the
Saint
limitless
ruins,
ocean,
on top
Void
of the
Wave
mountain.
Blade.
Grandmaster
Yin
Yin
Kong's
Kong's
silver
stood
eyes
there
shone
for a
with a
long
deep
time,
silver light
unable
as he
to
slowly
calm down.
waved his hand.
Even at the
The
last
next moment,
moment, the intent of the pursuit of
a
death
layer of
wasn't
soundless
able to
wave
take
shaped
away
silver
Zhao Feng's
blades
soul.
appeared in the air.
Where did Zhao Feng's
Spreading
eye
through a
bloodline
radius
come
of
from?
several tens
How
of
can it
feet
fight against
and
the eye of
enveloping
death?
the stone vein
The
giant?
experts of the three
Creep.
sects were puzzled.
The faint silver
as they fought
illusory
with Zhao
blades
Feng,
enveloped the
they
stone
realized
giant's
that
enormous
this youth's
body,
potential seemed
causing
to
it
be
to howl in
limitless.
pain.
This was
Puff,
especially
puff,
true for the mysterious
puff.
left
The
eye.
rock giant's
which was an
ancient crystalline
unsolvable
body
mystery.
shattered into pieces.
Everyone started to
and
wonder
layers
if
of
Zhao
crystalline
Feng's eye
rock
fell
bloodline
from the sky
was also a
in just
descendant
one or
of
two
one of the
breaths.
god eyes.
Hundreds of
The
cracks
three void
appeared
god
on the
realm
stone
kings
giant's
didn't
body,
understand,
and some
this
of them
was because
even pierced
Grandmaster
through its
Yin
entire
Kong had
body.
concluded that
What a
Zhao
weird
Feng's
attack.
eye bloodline
Zhao Feng was
wasn't
one of the 8 great
looking
god
at it.
eyes. There seemed to be countless faint silver lines surrounding
one
the
of the
stone
god
giant's
eyes.
body,
Or else
although
it
the
wouldn't be
stone
able to
giant's
fight against
defense
the eye
was
of
immune
death.
to the attacks of
There's
normal
another
sovereigns.
possibility. It
If
didn't
Zhao
have much
Feng's
resistance
bloodline
against
is related to the
Grandmaster
10,000
Kong's
ancient
attack.
races,
Several
it
breaths
wouldn't
later,
be strange for him
plop,
to be able
the
to fight
stone
against
giant's
the
powerful
eye of death.
body turned into
After
dozens
all,
of pieces
the power
that
of
fell
the
to
eye
the
of
ground.
death comes from
SI,
another dimension,
the experts of
and
the
it's
3
completely
sects all
different
took
from
in
the
cold
main
breaths.
body.
The
Grandmaster
Grandmaster
Kong's
King's
strength is
disgust
too
and
terrifying.
A measly
That stone
junior
giant
at the
is
true
an
Lord
ancient
rank
race,
was able
and
to
its
block the
defense
emperor of
surpasses
death's
those
eye
at the
intent.
Origin Core
This
realm.
was indeed shocking.
Even a sovereign lord
Even
at
normal
the Great
Void
Origin
God
Core
realm
realm
kings wouldn't be able to block
kill
the
or
pursuit
so
of
easily.
death.
The
Wang
sovereigns
suddenly,
of the 3
the image
sects
in the
all
sky
had their
above
mouths
the
open.
towering mountain
Of
gradually
course,
dimmed.
Grandmaster
Showing signs of
Kong's
instability,
performance made the 3
image
Void
of the
God
purple
realm
Saint
kings
ruins
reveal joy.
couldn't be seen clearly
His power
anymore.
is too terrifying.
What's going on?
He almost instantly
There was a
killed the
commotion
stone
on the
giant.
field.
Everyone looked at the array
normal
masters
defenses
who had set up the
Xiao
formation.
Feng's heart shook.
Due to some weird
Grandmaster
reasons,
Shui Yin,
the connection between the spatial
company
splitting
from
array
the previous two
and the
groups
purple
were all
Saint
stronger
Ruins has
than
been
normal
broken.
sovereigns.
Adding on the
However,
fact that the purple
compared to
Saint Ruins
Grandmaster
flaws
Yin Kong,
are becoming
the
more
other
and more
two
complete,
venerables paled in
an
comparison.
array master explained.
After slaying the
A
rock
while later,
giant,
the projection on the
Grandmaster
towering
Yin Kong
mountain
clapped his
peak
hands
was already
and left the
pitch black and
mysterious
murky.
canyon without any
Everyone
hesitation.
sighed. From
Chua,
this moment onwards,
Faint
the silver
sects
had
had
no
no
way
way
of knowing what was going on inside
in
the
the
purple
air.
Saint Ruins.
Every step he took
covered
at least a
an
mile,
origin core
as
realm
if he
elder
was taking a
smiled and
stroll.
said, "Purple
Although we can't
destruction,
take the purple
Azurite
Saint
piercings
Ruins
right now.
slash.
There's
There's
one
one
thing
purple
we can
aura
be sure
appeared
of.
in the eye of heaven.
Zhao Feng will die
Chua,
for sure."
A huge
Zhao Feng
translucent
would
blade
definitely
surrounded
die.
by wisps
Everyone's
of purple
spirits
destruction
were
wind
lifted when
thunder
they
power.
heard this.
Slashed
Some
at
people
Grandmaster
didn't
Yin
understand,
Kong like a
but
bolt
the
of
three
lightning.
void god realms
Oh,
nodded their
a
heads
circle
in
of
agreement.
silver light was left
Apparently,
behind.
if the
Grandmaster
token of
Yin
death
Kong's
doesn't
figure
kill
had
its
already
target,
appeared
the
2 miles
owner,
away.
the Emperor
The
of
entire
Death,
process
will personally take
Grandmaster
action.
Yin Kong,
A few
didn't
thousand
even
years
look
ago,
at the eye of heaven
an
above
emperor
him.
was even
He
hunted
just
down by
casually
the
dodged
Emperor
the
of
attack.
Death. The
He
Saint
dodged
Moon
it.
Ant Goddess
Zhao
smiled.
Feng's heart
Under
dropped.
normal
Although
circumstances,
this situation
the
was
token
within
of
his
death
expectations.
could kill most experts
Although
in
this
this
was
world.
within his expectations, his eye bloodline wasn't
Even
able
some
to
void
truly
god
lock
realm
onto
kings weren't
Grandmaster
able to
Yin
escape.
Kong.
Of course,
if
Zhao
the
Feng
token
didn't
of
know
death
that
didn't kill the
Grandmaster Yin
target,
Kong had
the will
spatial
of death
talent
would continue.
and was an array
Up
grandmaster.
until now,
No one
one
had
at the
survived
origin
the
core
Emperor
realm
of Death's
could truly
pursuit.
lock onto
Yeah,
Grandmaster
he's a
Yin
great
Kong.
emperor after
Chua,
all, and he has
Chua.
the eye of death. Our three sects
Grandmaster
don't
Yin
even
Kong
have a
slowly
single
closed
void
in on
god
Zhao
realm
Feng.
emperor. And the
The
skeletal
other two
division
kings
leader
also
at
expressed
the
their
edge of the
agreement.
purple Saint Ruins.
The power of an emperor
the power
at the
of
void
the ghost
god realm
corpse far
surpassed
surpassed
normal
suppressed Elder
kings.
Shui Yin and
The
company.
reason why Grandmaster
And the
Yin
Earth-grade
Kong
weapon
had a token
the
of
9
death
deadly Yin bones
was because his
his
grandfather had once helped
there
the
seems
Emperor
to
of
be
Death,
reinforcements,
and the latter owed him
Elder
a favor.
Shui Yin took
Of
out
course,
a special
the Emperor
token
of
and
Death
said
is in
something.
another territory controlled by the spiritual
Grandmaster
sacred
Yin
land.
Kong stood in
He's
the air with
extremely
his
far
hands
away
behind
from
his
our
back as
spiritual
he slowly
sacred
closed
land
in.
and the Tianlu
Skeletal
Islands.
division leader
Looks like
I'll
that
leave
Zhao
everything
Feng
here
will
to
be able
you.
to live for
The
a while.
opponents sent in this
Sighs
time will
sounded
probably
from the top
surpass
of the
our
mountains.
limits. And the number
Zhao
of
Feng
people
left the
became
ghost
fewer and
corpse cursed
fewer.
array to the
Purple
skeletal
Saint
division
Ruins
leader.
mysterious canyon.
We should be able to
Zhao
suppress
Feng
them
stood
for a
still
while.
as his blue hair
The skeletal
blew in the
division
wind.
leader
His
took over
left
the
eye
ghost
still
corpse
contained a
cursed
wisp of
array
the ancient
and
era's
waved the
aura.
black flag.
At the
The
same
connection
time,
between the
it
three
merged
sects
the 9 deadly
and the
Yin
purple
bone
Saint
into its
Ruins
body.
has been broken.
Although the 9
Could this
deadly
be the
Yin
result
bones
of
attack
Zhao
power
Feng's god's eye
wasn't as
clashing with
strong
the eye
as
of
when
death?
it left the body.
The purple Saint
It could
partial
still
spirit
increase
was
the power
overjoyed.
and defense of the
From
bones.
this moment on,
Its
it would
Grandmaster
be
Yin
extremely
Kong.
difficult for
Yi
the
Yin
three
was far
sects
away,
to enter the purple
but she
Saint
could still
Ruins
see
again.
the silver-haired
At the
youth
same
coming
time,
closer.
the purple Saint
Grandmaster
partial
Yin
spirit
Kong has
and the
personally
skeletal
entered the
division
purple
leader
Saint Ruins.
both noticed the change
Looks like
in
the
Zhao Feng's
situation
body.
is settled.
Zhao Feng
A
remained
smile appeared on
motionless
Elder
for a
Shui
long
Yin's
time with
face.
his eyes closed.
Everyone present
He didn't
heaved a
move
sigh
for a
of
long
relief.
time.
Grandmaster
But the wisp
Yin
of the
Kong
ancient
was,
era's
after
aura
all,
in his
one
left
of the 4
eye
array
caused the entire
grandmasters of the
dimension of the
Tianlu
ruins
Islands
to tremble.
He was a
Within
sovereign
the dimension of
and
his
had
left
extremely
eye,
rare spatial
the deep
talent.
blue lake of eye power,
According to what Elder
had
Shui
expanded
Yin
to
knew,
a radius of
the battle
25
power
to
of
6
any
yards
one of the 4
after
array
the stimulation
grandmasters
from before
surpassed normal
because
sovereigns.
he had expended a
One
lot
of them
his
was
eye
even a
bloodline
void
power.
god realm king.
The lake had
Chua,
expanded,
Grandmaster
but only
Yin
a thin
Kong
layer
soon
remained.
arrived at the
The
battlefield
mysterious
where the two sides
whirlpool
were
in the
fighting.
center of the lake
At this
started
moment,
to change.
the skeletal
D,
division
a
leader
wisp of
was
ancient
just
aura
barely
seeped out
suppressing
from
the
Elder
mysterious
Shui Yin and
whirlpool.
company. The whirlpool
On the other
was
hand,
invisible,
Zhao Feng,
but it did exist.
within the ghost corpse
Zhao
cursed
Feng
array,
carefully sent
his
a
blue
wisp
hair
of his
blew in the
consciousness
wind,
into the whirlpool.
and his god's spiritual
Chua,
eye
Zhao
contracted as
Feng's
he inspected
consciousness suddenly
Grandmaster
went
Yin
black.
Kong.
In the next
Grandmaster
instant,
Yin Kong
he entered
hurried
a
and
dreamlike
saved.
state.
Zhuang
Within
Wanner
the dream,
exclaimed,
the
Zhao
power
Feng
of the
stood on a
ghost
piece
corpse
of
cursed
desolate
array
land.
was eating away
The aura
at their
here
blood
was
essence
extremely
and soul.
primal.
Just
Zhao
by
Feng,
standing here,
Grandmaster
Zhao
Yin
Feng
Kong
felt a
inspected
boundless
Zhao
pressure.
Feng with a smile.
His body and soul
Zhao
were
Feng had a
facing
weird
an unimaginable
expression.
weight.
fate. He felt like Grandmaster Yin Kong was here wasn't comparable to the heaven
from the
Earth
looks of
Yuan
it.
Chi in the real world.
Grandmaster Yin Kong
Every
was
speck
very
of dust in the
amicable
air
and
seemed
had
to
no
contain
intention of
limitless
attacking
power.
Zhao Feng.
One breath,
What do
two
you
breaths,
want?
3 breaths.
Zhao Feng was expressionless.
Zhao Feng couldn't
Surrender.
hold on any longer.
You have no
and
chance
spat
in
out a
front of me.
mouthful of blood.
I'm only
He
interested
couldn't
in
even
your
last
left
more
eye.
than a few
If you
breaths in this
cooperate,
desolate
you might
land.
be able to live.
Grandmaster Yin Kong said
Moreover,
in a calm and
Zhao
composed
Feng's
manner,
intuition told
surrender,
him
that the god's
if this was said
spiritual,
by a normal
I was
sovereign,
able to neutralize
Zhao
the
Feng would
rejection
laugh.
of the earth,
But now
and
his
provide some
expression was
protection.
solemn,
And
otherwise,
he was ready for
even
battle.
if he was 10
This
times
Grandmaster
stronger,
Yin
his
Kong
body
is
would
very
explode
confident
and
and
he would
direct.
die. I
Zhao
can't hold on
Feng's thoughts
anymore.
spun.
Zhao Feng's vision went black,
Grandmaster
and he
Yin Kong's goal
disappeared
was
from the
already
dreamlike
very
land.
direct.
He wanted Zhao Feng's left eye.
consciousness returned to the
Impossible.
real world.
Under the pressure,
and his face was weak.
Zhao Feng's will
There was a
remain
trace
calm
of
and
blood
didn't
at the
waver.
corner of his mouth.
Now the god's
But it was
spiritual
still
eye had
warm.
already fused with his
WH
body.
what? The god's spiritual eye was a part of his body. The blood from his mouth. It doesn't matter if you agree or not. The ancient dream, the desolate land, wasn't a fake world. Grandmaster Inkong shook his head and smiled. The desolate land. He had a relaxed expression as his gaze landed on the skeletal division leader. Zhao Feng was deeply shocked. I'll kill you first. If the ancient desolate land really existed, Grandmaster Inkong waved his extremely high-level and a faint silver blade flashed across the void. That the ancient desolate land in the division leader was related to the ancient desolate land. Dodge before the blade cut through its bones. Zhao Feng was extremely weak. Zhao Feng had been on guard against Grandmaster mysterious whirlpool again. But he didn't expect him to suddenly attack the skeletal division leader. And there were some powerful beings that wanted to kill Zhao Feng. Inkong killed the skeletal division leader with just a finger to destroy Zhao Feng's helpers. The injuries that Zhao Feng suffered were the same as the injuries in reality. Grandmaster Inkong's goal was to capture Zhao Feng alive. The ancient dream realm, the ancient dream realm division leader felt a sense of danger. Was something new that had appeared in the dimension of the gods, but they didn't have much of an effect against the silver blade. I'll explore the ancient dream realm when I have time in the future. Its body. Zhao Feng calmed his mind. Flames appeared around its bones. The most important thing right now, however, was that Zhao Feng needed to take care of some problems. Block a quarter of the token of death had failed to take away Zhao Feng's soul. The skeletal division leader roared as every time Zhao Feng closed his eyes, body started to hum. He could feel the invisible aura of the eye of death in his soul. Finally, it was like a ghost was attached to him. All its life-saving eye bloodline and soul were one. Its earth-grade weapon as he circulated his eye bloodline, allowing it to survive. The eye of death's intent would become stronger. However, one of its bones was still cut off. Everything he could. It screamed, but he couldn't shatter the eye of death's Grandmaster Inkong's playful laughter sounded. Couldn't be compared to the Emperor of Death. A second silver blade came from behind, while the other was a void god skeletal division leader's head. The difference was like heaven and earth. The skeletal division leader felt the danger of death. Was the origin that it wouldn't be able to escape. The origin core realm don't even think about into the small origin core realm, snickered coldly and the great powerful eye bloodline aura surged above from the origin core realm. Was the skeletal division leader couldn't die. The void god realm otherwise was split into normal. The situation that Zhao Feng was facing would be unimaginable. The difference between Zhao Feng and the Emperor of Death ripple of eye bloodline power appeared in the center. It's best if you don't use your eye bloodline. Every time you use your eye bloodline, in that instant, it will increase the connection between you and the Emperor of Death. The Chapter 5 partial spirit warned. Just as the skeletal division leader was about to die, at his level, he couldn't do anything to the eye of death's spatial blade was devoured by a transparent do you have a way? Right before Zhao Feng could only ask the purple saint partial spirit for help. The faint silver blade that was visible to the owner of the purple saint partial spirit air was at the mystic green sky water border. Elder Shui Yin formed from a wisp of soul. Widened their eyes. I don't even have one that could have taken the skeletal division leader's life. I can only try and seal this intent of death for you. The purple saint partial spirit division leader let out a long breath. She was on the verge of dissipating. Luckily, if she had enough power, she wouldn't need Zhao Feng, or else it wouldn't have been able to down cross-legged and soon felt a wisp of remnant at the same time enter his soul. It couldn't help but look deeply at Zhao Feng with a complex expression. The purple saint partial spirit at this moment, as her partial spirit intent was bounced back. After all, the skeletal division leader was fighting against Elder Shui Yin. I need at least a void god realm king that specializes in the Tao of the soul. If Zhao Feng dies, I won't have any hope at all. The skeletal division leader didn't dare. Zhao Feng's heart was heavy. According to what the purple saint partial spirit suddenly changed. The Emperor of Death would come looking for him sooner or later. Death. No one had ever survived the pursuit of the Emperor of Death, but he can use spatial teleportation that can help you lower the sensitivity of the intent. Right at this moment, his partial spirit beat for a while. A sense of crisis surged. Partial spirit intent and Grandmaster circled around Zhao Feng's soul. Trace of a strange and ancient spatial aura appear around his soul. A transparent ripple of eye bloodline power appeared in front of Grandmaster 70% of the intent. With the vague outline of a whirlpool at its center, voice was filled with exhaustion. The silver void blade, thank you, Senior, that had disappeared suddenly reappeared and found that the sense of danger from the god's spiritual eye had decreased. He then tried to circulate his bloodline power blood to block the god's spiritual eye, and he fell from the sky. Zhao Feng's left eye regained its dim black color. Of Elder Shui Yin. Blocking the eye bloodline has changed dramatically. They didn't know what was overjoyed. Of course, in the outside world, point in time, on the towering mountain was sure that he wouldn't be able to stay in the purple saint ruins. How did the silver spatial blade reappear and land on Grandmaster Inkong? Well, what kind of
Chapter
secret technique is
560.
this?
On the same
Even
day,
some of the martial
Zhao Feng
supremacies
told
were
the
shocked.
Purple Saint partial
The expressions of the
and
three
Zhao
void
Yufei
god realm
that he
kings
wanted to
changed
leave the
dramatically
ruins.
in disbelief.
On the third floor
Everyone
of the
couldn't
relic
help
treasure
but recall the
palace,
previous
the
process.
Purple Saint partial
First,
spirit let out a
the
sigh of
second silver
regret,
spatial
but
blade
she wasn't
slashed toward the
surprised and
skeletal
couldn't make him
division
stay.
leader, and was
Indeed,
about to kill it.
Zhao Feng couldn't
But at this
stay
critical
in the Purple
juncture,
Saint ruins any
Zhao
longer.
Feng activated
He
void
had the
movement
intent of death
and
left
took the
behind
silver
by the
void
Emperor
blade
of
away.
Death.
More
So wherever
accurately
he was,
speaking,
he could
the
attract
silver
calamity.
spatial blade was
If Zhao
absorbed
Feng
into
stayed
another
in the
dimension.
ruins,
Not
which
only
was the
would he not
dimension
be
of
able
Zhao
to
Feng's
protect
left
this
eye.
place,
Afterward,
but he would also bring
this
more
was the
danger
beginning
to
of
this
the
place.
mutation.
The
The
three
silver
sects
void
had
blade
already
that had
brought a lot of
disappeared
pressure
returned,
to the Purple
catching
Saint ruins.
Grandmaster
If
Yin
another
off
peak
guard.
emperor came, the consequences
At that
would be
time,
unimaginable.
Grandmaster
Zhao
Yin
Feng
naturally
had been pondering
did not
about
wish
the
to see
principle
such
of
a
Zhao Feng's
situation.
void
Zhao
teleportation.
Feng,
If
he
your
had never
bloodline is
expected
really
such
a god
an anomaly,
eye, then it's
finally,
the same as the 8 great
Grandmaster
god
Yin
eyes.
Kong paid a
It's
heavy
unique.
price for
The Purple
underestimating
Saint
his
partial
enemy.
spirit said,
Thump.
God
Grandmaster
eye,
Yin Kong
uniqueness.
fell to the ground
Zhao
with a
Feng
deep
suddenly
wound
recalled
that
the
extended
divination
from
that
his
sixth
chest to
warlock
his leg.
sage had given
One
him.
of his legs
The
was
sixth
separated
warlock
from
divine
Grandmaster
sage
Yin
once
Kong
speculated
body.
that Zhao Feng's
Arg,
god spiritual.
Grandmaster Yin
I had
Kong
a chance
suppressed
of
the
reaching
pain
the
as
level
his
of
eyes
the
were
8
filled
great
with
god
hatred
eyes.
and regret.
Every god
If
eye
he
is a
hadn't
kind
underestimated
object born
Zhao Feng
after the
and
destruction
had been
of
on
the
guard,
ancient era,
he would have
there
had a
was only
50
one
to
of each of the
60%
8
chance
great
of
god
dodging
eyes in the
Zhao Feng's
world,
teleportation
and they were the
with his bloodline
progenitors.
talent
The
and
other eye
ability to
bloodlines
sense
of the
space.
same type only have a
Unfortunately,
thin god eye bloodline.
from the beginning to the end,
The Purple Saint
he had the
partial
attitude
spirit
of looking down
explained.
on them.
Doesn't that
As
mean
if
that as
victory
long
was
as
already
the death
in his
god eye
grasp?
exists,
Other death
it's your
elemental eye
honor to be the
bloodlines
first
can't
to
become
taste
the
the
same
power
type
of
of
my
god
void
eye.
teleportation.
Zhao Feng vaguely
Zhao
realized
Feng laughed
something.
lightly. The Purple
At
Saint
first,
partial
he had only
spirit
comprehended
seemed to be
the
reminding
ability
him
of
of void
something.
assimilation.
That's right.
It was just
The 8
object
great
god
god
eyes
eyes
are
are
related to the
But then,
laws of the world's
Zhao
origin.
Feng found that he
Each
could
god
teleport
eye can
things
only
out
have
of the
one at a
dimension
time.
of his left eye.
The Purple Saint
Therefore,
partial spirit
after
nodded
dealing
her
with
head.
the demonic
Is
hell
there no
vine,
other way to
the
cultivate
void
a god
movement
eye?
secret technique
Zhao Feng
took
was
shape in
baffled.
his mind.
No,
Before
the
Elder
Purple
Shui
Saint
Yan's
partial
group
spirit
arrived,
shook her head.
Zhao Feng had
Normal
already
eye bloodlines
completed
can't
void
become a god,
teleportation,
and no matter how
Brat.
hard they
I
cultivate.
underestimated you.
He paused for a
Grandmaster
moment.
Yin Kong's
The Purple
eyes were
Saint
bright
partial
red,
spirit then
but he
said
suppressed
meaningfully,
his anger and killing
It's said
intent.
that if you want to have a
First,
god's
to
eye,
achieve his goal,
you have to be
he still
extremely
needed
powerful.
to capture Zhao Feng
The only
alive.
method is to kill
Secondly,
a god eye ancestor
Grandmaster
and
Yin
replace
Kong
him
was
or
severely
steal a god
injured
eye.
and had lost
Steal
a
a
leg.
god eye.
Schwa,
Zhao Feng's
with his
heart
broken
shook as
leg,
he understood
Grandmaster
what the
Yin
Purple
Kong
Saint
stepped
partial
into the
spirit
Azure
meant.
Sky water
That
boundary.
was to say,
Grandmaster
as
Yin
long as
Kong,
the Emperor
Elder
of Death
Shui
stole
Yin
Zhao
immediately
Feng's
helped
god
him
eye,
and
he would
started to
become
heal
the
him.
ancestor of
This
a god eye.
Grandmaster Yin
I
Kong
still
is
have to
quite
remind
smart.
you,
Although
Zhao
you've
Feng's
blocked over
expression didn't
90%
change.
of the
He
intent
was
of death
actually
from your
studying
body.
Grandmaster
The
Yin
Emperor
Kong's
of
ultimate
Death
technique
can still sense
the
your
silver void
approximate
blade.
location
The
with his
silver void
abilities.
blade was a
However,
spatial
it's not
bloodline
very
ability
accurate. That had the
The
ability
Purple
to
Saint
merge with the
partial
void
spirit
to a
said,
certain extent.
Junior understands.
That was why normal defenses couldn't resist
Even
the
though
silver
Zhao
void
Feng
blade,
had blocked 90%
and it was hard to
of
dodge
the aura
it.
of the will of death.
Unfortunately, the sense
Zhao
of
Feng
danger
didn't
still
have any
lingered.
spatial bloodline
This was
power,
because Zhao Feng
so he
had
couldn't
only
copy
weakened
the
the Emperor
even if
of
he knew
Death's
the
theory
senses.
behind it.
Not
But
completely
it wasn't
cut
like
them
Zhao
off.
Feng didn't gain
Zhao
anything.
Feng, you still
Both
have
the
some
silver
time to
void
prepare.
blade and
You
his
can
void
take
movement
whatever
had a
resources
certain
you want
spatial
from the Purple
characteristic,
Saint ruins,
especially
you
the
can take
abruptness
whatever
that came
resources
from the
you want from
principles
the
of
Purple
space.
Saint ruins.
This brat's
And the
eye
Emperor
bloodline
of
is
Death
too weird.
won't be
He
able
can
to
even
catch
move
up to you in
spatial
a short
attacks.
amount of time.
Grandmaster
The Purple
Yin
Saint
Kong
partial
sat on the
spirit
ground
said
with
with
a
shock.
smile. At this
Thank
moment
you,
in
Senior.
time,
Zhao
Elder
Feng
Shui
felt
Yin
grateful.
focused on healing
He had
his
received
injuries
a lot of
and
resources
reconnecting
from the
his
two
broken
times
leg.
he had entered
However,
the Purple
Zhao
Saint
Feng
ruins.
wasn't going to let
3
him
days
succeed.
later,
Earth
Zhao Feng's
Feng's inheritance
energy,
weapon,
soul, and
Ice Imperial
bloodline
Spear
power
had all recovered to
Feng
their
slowly
peak.
reached out
Next,
and gathered his
Zhao
bloodline
Feng
power,
and the
the
skeletal
blue spear in
division
his
leader
hand
started to gather
condense.
rare materials. Of course,
As
most
long
of
as
them
he
were
took
for
out
the
the
100
mysterious imperial plan, and used it with the ghost corpse cursed array. I can't use my eye bloodline easily, Feng was confident that he could destroy the connection with the Emperor of Death and stop Grandmaster cursed array from healing. Is an important part of my strength. Restriction. Zhao Feng placed great importance on this. Silver eyes locked onto Zhao Feng. With everything was spatial power. There was a mountain of materials. Zhao Feng's figure suddenly froze. Ancient metal ring. It was as if the space around him had locked him down. It was as if he was stuck in mud and could be used in the future. The blue spear in his hand started to dissipate. The skeletal division leader successfully refined more cursed ghost corpses. It's able to restrict the space around Zhao Feng. The 100 corpses skeletal division leader couldn't help but exclaim. The skeletal division leader had recovered to its peak state, but he found that he couldn't even at which it refined ghost corpses increased. Don't struggle. However, my silver space confinement expectations for the 100 corpses to form a powerful confinement. All of the
living
cursed
beings
ghost
in that
corpses
area
in the
will be
ghost corpse
confined
cursed array
and lose
had
their
reached
freedom.
the peak true lord rank.
Grandmaster Yin
The
Kong
strength
laughed
of the two
mockingly.
dark silver
With
ghost
Elder
corpses
Shui Yun's
had
strength,
reached the
she
half-step
only needed
origin
10
core
breaths
realm
to repair his
after
broken
using
leg.
up many resources
Although he
from
wouldn't
the
be able
ruins.
to recover in a
Zhao
short
Feng's
amount
goal
of
was
time.
to make these two
At
dark
least he
silver
wouldn't need
ghost
to fight with
corpses
a broken
reach the
leg.
origin core
However,
realm in the end.
all living
I've prepared
beings
enough
within this
materials,
area will be
but I
imprisoned
still need to
and
get
lose
closer
their
to
freedom.
my goal.
As
On
soon
this
as
day,
Grandmaster
Zhao
Yin
Feng
Kong
finally
finished,
came out of
meow
seclusion.
meow.
A
Third
silver
floor
gray
of the
cat the
purple
size
saint
of a
treasured
palm appeared on
palace.
Zhao Feng's
Zhao
shoulder
Feng saw the purple
and threw a
saint
few
partial
bronze
spirit
coins into the
and
air.
Zhao Yufei once again.
What?
Seeing
The
your
smile
purple
on
saint,
Grandmaster
everything's
Yin Kong's
ready.
face instantly
I'm going to
froze.
leave. He had
Zhao
just
Feng
said
took a
that all
deep breath.
beings within the
Zhao
area
Yufei's
covered
eyes
by
were
the
misty,
silver spatial
and she was
restriction
reluctant to
would
leave.
lose their ability
While
to
Zhao
move.
Feng was in the ruins
However,
as a
the
housekeeper,
cat in front of him was
she had a
alive and
fulfilling
kicking.
life every
This
day,
was a
and her
slap to
heart
his
was at
face.
ease.
Little thieving
Zhao
cat,
Feng,
where do you
Zhao
want to
Feng
go?
was slightly
The purple
surprised.
saint partial
His
spirit
body
asked.
was restricted by
Zhao
the
Feng
space
started
around
to
him.
think. But
He
the
already
little
had an
thieving
answer
cat
in his
wasn't
heart.
affected at all.
Firstly, however,
he couldn't go
thinking
back
about
to the
it,
azure
the
flower
little
continent.
thieving cat already
At the
had
very
the ability
least,
to enter
he
and
couldn't go
exit
back
the
before he
interspatial
avoided the
dimension.
danger. Shadow
Furthermore,
kill in the Tao of
there was
concealment.
still a knot in his heart,
Grandmaster Yin
and that
Kong's
was regarding
pupils
his
contracted
fiancée
as he
Lu
inspected
Qinxin.
the little thieving cat.
Schwa. The
In
little
his
thieving
memory,
cat
the
disappeared,
elegant and tranquil
leaving
woman,
behind a dark
who was like
silver
a fairy
line in
from
the
a
air.
painting.
Whoosh!
Her every
The
frown
gray
and
line
every
seemed to
smile
have
pierced
pierced
a
in his
tiny
mind.
hole in the silver
May I
space
ask, Senior
shackle.
Purple Saint,
Zhao
if
Feng
you know of an
instantly felt the
inheritance
pressure
called the Sky
decrease.
Saint Qin?
Meow meow.
Zhao Feng asked.
The little thieving cat
Sky
played
Saint
with a
Qin
mysterious
inheritance?
dagger.
The Purple Saint
that was
partial
as dark
spirit
as a
thought
shadow
for a while and
as it
replied.
moved. From what I
created
remember,
a shadow blade,
there's a peak
and its
two-star
aura was
sect called the
unfathomable.
Sky Sacred
Wings
Qin
of wind
Palace
and
in
lightning,
the southwest part
a
of
pair
the
of
Tsang
purple
Ocean
green wings
that's
of wind and
controlled by
lightning
the floating
floated on
dream
Zhao
sacred
Feng's
land.
back.
They
Sky
flapped at
Saint
high
Qin
speed
Palace,
and released the
unorthodox
wisps
and
of special.
destructive aura.
Hearing this,
Ha!
Zhao
The
Feng
wings of
couldn't
wind
help
and
but
lightning
reveal a
on
look
Zhao
of joy.
Feng's back flapped.
The master of the
And he
purple
broke
saint
through the
partial
silver
spirit
spatial
was
restriction
indeed
that
worthy of being a
Grandmaster
mighty
Yin Kong
figure
was so
that
proud
shook
of.
the universe.
Firstly,
She had seen
the
many
little
things.
thieving cat managed
Zhao
to
Feng
create
had
a
a small
feeling that
hole
the
in
Sky
the
Saint
silver
Qin
spatial
Palace
restriction
and the Sky Saint Qin inheritance
secondly
had some sort of
Zhao
relationship.
Feng's wings of wind
However,
and lightning
that's
had the
a memory
ability
from
to travel through
10,000
space.
years ago.
And it
I
also
can't
contained
estimate
the
the current
destructive
situation
power of the purple lightning.
The Purple Saint partial
Great.
spirit added.
With the support of the
Senior,
wings of wind
can
and
you
lightning,
teleport me to an area
Zhao Feng
a bit
appeared in
closer
the
to
air
Sky
above the
Saint
green
Qin
sky
Palace?
water border.
Zhao Feng
In
begged.
the image of the
He
ice
had two
imperial
reasons
spear
for leaving
struck
the
the
Purple
Saint
Saint
ruins.
In order
Firstly,
to prevent Grandmaster
he wanted to run
Yin
from
Kong
his
from
life.
interrupting,
And secondly,
Zhao Feng
he wanted
didn't
to
take
go
out
to the
the
outside
imperial
world to
spirit
confirm
self.
Lu Qinxin's
Even
location.
so, with his current
The Sky
cultivation
Saint Qin
base,
Palace is
bloodline
too far
power,
away from here,
and the power of
I
the
can
ice
only
imperial
send you a bit
spear.
further.
He could threaten
The
even
Purple Saint
sovereigns.
partial spirit
See,
said bitterly.
The power
In
of
the
the
next
ice
day or
imperial
two,
spear
the
caused
Purple
the
Saint
ripples
partial
of the green
spirit
sky water
started to
border to
prepare
freeze.
for the teleportation.
The
She needed
skeletal
the
division
crystal
leader
stones
waved the
in
black
the Purple
flag
Saint ruins
and summoned the
to
power
reduce
of
her
the ghost
energy
corpse
consumption.
cursed array.
2 days
Its
later,
other hand shot
the
out a string
preparations
of
for the
large
teleportation
glowed
were
with
ready.
a dark purple
Zhao
light.
Feng,
The
my
frozen
partial
azure
spirit
sky water
intent is
boundary
becoming
shattered
thinner and
into
thinner.
pieces and
I can
completely
only barely
collapsed.
send you to the
Woo!
border of the
The
Tianlu
power of the
Islands.
ghost corpse cursed
The
array
Purple Saint
engulfed
partial
Grandmaster
spirit
Yin
said
Kong.
apologetically.
Elder Shui
Zhao
Yin
Feng
and
was
company.
slightly surprised.
The power of the
Last
cursed also
time,
entered
the Purple
Grandmaster
Saint
Yin
partial
Kong's body
spirit
through
could
his
send him
wounds.
to the azure flower
Grandmaster Yin
continent,
Kong had
which was
already
under the
suffered
azure
heavy
islands.
injuries.
But this
Coupled
time,
with the terrifying
after
curse
several
power
years,
and death aura,
the Purple Saint
his
partial
forehead was
spirit's
covered in
partial
cold
spirit
sweat,
intent,
and he
was
couldn't
being
help
used
but
up
let out a muffled
and couldn't
groan.
even send Zhao
Spatial
Feng
wavy
to the
blade.
outside of the Tianlu
Grandmaster
Islands.
Yin Kong's
Thank you,
expression
Senior.
became grim.
However,
as he
even
slashed
then,
out with
Zhao
one
Feng
hand.
felt satisfied.
Wang,
A
before
wave of
leaving,
faint silver
Brother
blades
Zhao
appeared in
Feng,
the air.
why are you
and
looking
locked
for
onto
the
Zhao
Sky
Feng
Saint Qin
within a
inheritance
radius of several
When
yards?
can you return?
That's the move.
Zhao Yufei's
It killed
eyes
the
reddened.
stone giant
She not long ago.
She was reluctant to part with him.
Zhao Feng's heart
Zhao
dropped
Feng
as
didn't
he
hide
felt a sense of danger
and told her why he was looking for Lu
Grandmaster
Qinxin.
Yin Kong
Lu Qinxin
didn't use a
looking
single
for your
target
fiancé?
spatial wavy blade.
Zhao Yufei's
Junior's void movement can only target a single small object,
as if she had suddenly received
and it's several
some
times
bad
more
news.
difficult for him to teleport away with
crystal
my area
door
of
appeared on the
attack.
third floor of the treasure
Grandmaster
palace.
Yin Kong's eyes
We'll meet
twinkled.
again.
The range
Zhao
of the
Feng
spatial
stepped
wavy
into the
blade
purple
was huge,
crystal door with
and
a
it
single
could cover
step.
a radius of
Before
10
he
yards.
left,
Zhao
even the
Feng
stone
found
giant,
that Zhao
which was
Yufei
several times
and her
stronger
face
than
was
Zhao
full of
Feng's,
pain and sadness,
had been killed by this move,
let alone Zhao Feng himself.
That scene caused his heart
This
to
move
tremble,
uses too much energy,
and he felt an indescribable
Grandmaster
pain
Yin Kong
and regret.
felt his bloodline
However,
power quickly
the instant
deplete.
he stepped into
I
the
can't
door,
teleport away.
Zhao Feng had already
Facing this
disappeared.
danger,
Zhao
Yufei
Feng circulated
Yufei,
his bloodline
the
power,
purple Saint
and
partial
used the
spirit
ice
quickly
imperial
called.
spear's
On
intent
the
of
third
ice
level
and
of the
water.
palace,
Water spirit
Zhao
divine
Yufei appeared to
changed.
be in a daze
Zhao
as she
Feng's
stood
body
there
was
for a
covered
long
in a
time.
layer of dark
Crystal
blue light
clear tears
that
finally
twisted
rolled
and
down her
overlapped
beautiful
with
and
one
pale
another.
face.
Wang,
the dark
WHY.
blue light merged with
Zhao
Zhao Feng's
Yufei's
flesh
voice
and
trembled
blood.
slightly.
Ripples appeared
filled
on
with
Zhao
grief and
Feng's
sorrow.
body. as
She
if it was
placed
a
her
liquid.
hand on her chest.
When the spatial
her
void
delicate
blades
body
hit
trembling.
Zhao Feng, she did
It
not
was like
know
they
where
had
this
hit a
kind of
man made of
disappointment
liquid
and
water,
indescribable
like
pain
rocks
came
sinking
from.
into the ocean.
Although it wasn't heart-wrenching, it
Elder
lasted
Shui
for a
Yin
long
exclaimed
time.
not far
It was
away.
like rain washing the stone in front of a door. Thinking about it,
Chapter
it had been 6 to
556.
7 years since
Water
Zhao
Spirit
Feng
divine
and
change.
Zhao Yufei
This
left
was
the
the
Zhao
high-level
clan in
water
Sunfeather
secret
City.
technique.
Yufei,
Elder
don't
Shui
be too
Yin had
pessimistic.
used before.
From what
However,
I can see,
at this moment,
there's a
this
99%
powerful
chance
secret
that
technique
Zhao Feng's
had been
fiancé,
successfully
Lu
replicated
Qinxin,
by Zhao
died
Feng.
in the inheritance.
Poof.
The purple saint
Poof.
partial spirit
Zhao Feng's
said.
body
Zhao
seemed to have
Yufei's
turned
sobbing
into a
voice
liquid.
paused.
The power
Thinking
from
about
the
it,
spatial
Lu
wavy blade
Qinxin was
pierced
most
through his
likely
body,
dead since there was
as
no
if it had
news of her
pierced
for
through a
so
person
long.
made of water.
Even the sage of the
Outside,
six warlock
the experts of
had
the
divine
three sects
something
on the
bad
tower
would
mountain
happen to
were
him.
all dumbfounded.
Zhao Feng's probably
Everyone had
looking for Lu
personally witnessed
Qinxin
Elder Shui
because he
Yin's
doesn't
water
want to leave a
spirit
knot
godly
in his
change.
heart.
Not
You and
many
him are
people in the
childhood
three-star
sweethearts.
sects could
That kind of
successfully
vague
learn
friendship is
such
not
a
something
peerless
that
water
water
element
element
can
can
compare
compare
to.
to.
The water
purple
spirit
saint partial
divine
spirit
change
smiled
uses the power
and
of water
continued
to
to
fuse
console
with
her.
one's flesh and
There were
blood,
still traces
turning
of
one's
tears on
body
Zhao
into a
Yufei's
liquid
face,
state for a
but
short
the pain in
period
her
of time
heart seemed to
In
have
this
disappeared.
One's
How good would it
defense
be
is
if
almost
Lu
immortal
Qinxin
was already dead.
Zhao Feng floated
a
in
thought
the
that
air.
made even
His
Zhao
body
Yufei
rippling
feel
ashamed
ashamed
and uneasy
grew in
his
her
eyes
heart.
calm.
At the same time,
at
the edge of the
Imperial
Tianlu
spear in
Islands,
his body
a
had
vast
fused
and
with
boundless
every
space
corner
was
of his
filled with a
bloodline.
dusky sea
The
of
intent
mist,
of ice and
vast
water
and
was like a
mysterious.
water skeleton.
This is the
that
limitless
supported
ocean.
Zhao Feng's water
Zhao
spirit
Feng
divine
couldn't see the end
change.
of it.
That was
The
why
limitless ocean
Zhao
was
Feng
outside
hadn't
of become
become
a
a sovereign yet,
and it was
so
different
he
from
could
land.
successfully use the
Zhao
water
Feng
spirit
felt as if
divine
his body
change
was weightless
and
in
reduced
the
the
limitless
energy
ocean.
consumption.
Even if he
Damn
didn't
it.
intentionally
When did
fly,
this brat learn
his
this
body
technique?
was like a feather
It's
that
almost
floated
immortal.
in the air.
The gravity and air
Kong
resistance
gritted his
here were
teeth.
much lower than
Poof.
on land.
Under the attack
Zhao
of
Feng
the
felt
spatial
that if
wavy
he flew
blade,
here,
Zhao
his
Feng
speed
took
would
2
be
to
10
3
breaths
breaths
of
of
time,
time, or even dozens of times faster
During
than
this
on
process,
land.
Zhao
My
Feng was
destination
injured.
this time is
Space
another
type
area
attacks were
ruled by the
special.
spiritual
Even
sacred
though his
land.
body was in a
It's in the
semi-liquid
Song Ocean,
state
and
a
could
map
absorb
appeared in
70
Zhao
to
Feng's
80%
mind.
of the damage.
It was provided by
It
the
still
purple
injured his
saint partial
body.
spirit.
Luckily,
However,
the ice
right at
imperial
this
spear
moment,
has fused with
Zhao
my
Feng's
body.
heart jumped
Even
as he
in
felt
the
a
water
familiar,
spirit divine
yet strange
change state,
feeling along with
Zhao
a sense
Feng
of
could
danger.
still feel the pain
Furthermore,
of being injured. The source
luckily,
of this feeling wasn't
with the
the
support
Emperor
of the
of
ice
Death,
imperial
but
spear.
something else.
His water
Zhao
spirit
Feng's
divine
expression
changed
changed
dramatically,
dramatically.
comparable to
Only
Elder
then did
Shui
he
Yin's.
realize that he had
Plop.
overlooked something.
Zhao Feng's body was injured, and the healing power of the water was 10 times faster than normal.
Chapter 561.
Although
Tianlu
Zhao Feng
Islands,
was
pure
taking
moon
damage
spiritual
in his
sect,
semi-liquid
in the
state,
middle of a lake that
his
was
recovery
enshrouded
speed
by a
was
dense
faster
and
than the
splendid
damage
light.
he caused.
A holy
How
and
did he do
dignified
it?
woman in
He
a
has
moon
learned
robe
my highest
was
secret
lingering
skill
in
of
the
water,
faint glow of the
the
moon,
water spirit
like a white
transformation.
jade statue of the
Elder
goddess of
Shui
stars
Yin
and
lost
moon.
her composure.
You finally
3
appeared.
breaths later,
The Saint Moon
whoosh,
Ant Goddess's
the
eyebrows
void wavy
jumped
blade
as a
attack
cold
was
smile
ineffective
appeared on
and
her lips.
disappeared.
Whoosh.
Grandmaster
The
Yin
Saint
Kong's
Moon
face
Ant
turned
Goddess
slightly
waved her
pale,
hand,
and his
and a model
expression
giant
became grave.
scorpion appeared in
Zhao
front
Feng's
of her.
growth potential
Its body
and
was
the concealment
comparable
of
to a
his
water
strength
buffalo,
were beyond common
and it had
sense.
a pair of icy
Even
red
someone
eyes
as
that
strong
shrunk,
as Grandmaster
giving off an
Yin Kong
indescribable
found it a
chill.
little tricky to
At
deal
this
with.
moment,
Meanwhile,
the giant scorpion's
pop,
eyes flickered.
Zhao Feng's
And there
liquefied
was a
body
slight
returned
struggle
to its
before it
normal
fell
state of
silent
flesh
again.
and blood.
Pass on the order.
This surprised
Zhao Feng
Elder
has
Shui
appeared
Yin
in
and
the
the
others.
islands.
He's probably near the
The
8
water
desolate
spirit
mountains on the
transformation
southern
was
border.
a powerful secret
What
skill
experts are guarding
that not
the 8
only allowed
desolate
one's
mountain.
body to
In
liquefy,
the name of the pure moon
it could also
spiritual
greatly
sect,
increase one's
find
combat
Zhao Feng's
strength.
location. But just
And
now,
now,
for a reward
Zhao
for his
Feng
capture,
had only used half
the Saint
of the
Moon
secret
Ant
skill,
Goddess flipped her
which was
hand
the
over a
defensive
special
power
token.
of the liquid state
Invisible
immortal body,
ripples spread out
but it
between
did
the
not
heavens
increase
and
his
the
combat
earth.
power.
As a 2.5
Thinking
star
about
sect,
Elder
the
Shui
pure
Yin
moon
started to
spiritual
understand
sect had a dominant
Zhao
position
Feng might only
in the
be able
Tianlu
to learn
Islands.
half of it
Less
in a
than
short
an hour
amount of
later.
time.
The ripples of
Furthermore,
information
the full
reached
version of the
outside
water
island
spirit
region,
transformation
where the
used
pure
too
moon
much
spiritual
energy sect was
Zhao
located.
Feng's bloodline
It had
power
to be
and
known.
cultivation were
The
weaker
island
than
region
hers.
where the pure
Even
moon
Elder
spiritual
Shui
sect
Yin would
was
be greatly
located
injured
several
after
times
using
larger
this secret
than
skill.
the Azure Flower
The water
continent.
spirit transformation
In the entire
uses too much
Timu
energy.
Islands,
There
I
were
only
dozens
used
of
half of
islands
its
of a
power,
similar size,
and I already feel
even
like
a
I'm
Void
lacking
God Realm
energy.
King like the
Zhao
Saint
Feng
Moon
didn't
Goddess
immediately attack
wouldn't be able
after
to
saving
personally
his life.
chase.
After
The feeling
Zhao
of
Feng
lacking
in such a
energy
large
alerted
area.
Zhao Feng.
Crackle.
Grandmaster
Suddenly,
Yin Kong's
a wisp
situation
of
was
invisible
also
and
slightly
obscure
awkward.
psychic
He
fluctuation
had used up a lot of his
across the
bloodline
giant power.
scorpion's body.
Firstly,
This
using
Zhao
a
Feng
secret
reacted
technique
quickly.
to enter the Purple
He's
Saint
already
ruins,
severed the blood
had used
contract
half
with
of his
spiritual
bloodline
power.
pact.
His
The
bloodline
Saint Moon
power
Ant
and
Goddess's
bloodline power
expression
came from
darkened.
the same source.
At the same time,
Next,
far away in the distance,
Grandmaster Yin Kong
in the
had
sea of
used
space,
up a lot of his
I can only
bloodline
give
power
up on
to
this
kill the
giant
stone
scorpion.
giant.
the skeletal division
opened
leader,
his eyes,
and the fight
his
with
mind
Zhao
trembled
Feng.
as he groaned.
The spatial wavy
Forcefully
blade was
erasing
an area
the
of
blood
effect
contract
that
with the
used
giant
up a lot of his
scorpion
bloodline
had
power.
injured Zhao Feng's
However,
mind.
he could not
Zhao
easily
Feng felt
use the
slightly
silver
more at
void
ease
blade
after doing all
which
this.
consumed less
Without
energy
the giant
as a
mutated
single target
scorpion's
attack.
spiritual
Once he
connection,
used the silver
the three
spatial
great
wavy
sects
blade,
couldn't sense his
he might be
location
countered
at all
by
times.
Zhao Feng's spatial
I have to
movement.
leave the Tianlu
Wu,
Islands region
right at
as
this
soon
moment.
as possible.
The skeletal
Zhao
division
Feng's
leader waved
expression
the
was
black
solemn.
flag. Before
And
departing,
summoned the power of the
Zhao
ghost
Feng
corpse
had a
cursed
preliminary
array.
understanding
A dark
of the
mist covered
situation in
everyone.
the outer realms.
Cough, cough.
In the Tianlu
Grandmaster
archipelago
Yin Kong
region,
and company's
the three
injuries
strongest
worsened as
factions
they were
naturally
corroded
by
by
the
the
power
power
of
of
the
the
curse,
sect,
Black
purple
Cliff
destruction,
Palace,
and
and
Moon
Lightning
Demon
Whip.
Hall.
They
Zhao
controlled
Feng
dozens
laughed
of
as a purple
so-called
and azure
continents
whip
similar
condensed
in
in his
size
hand.
to the azure
It was
flower
dozens
continent.
of yards long.
Zhao Feng
and
was
contained
enemies
the power
with the
of
three
wind,
sections.
lightning, yuan qi. Pa, pa. Now that
Boom.
he had appeared in
The
this
purple
island
destruction
zone,
tempest
how
whip
could he still
was
have a
filled with
foothold?
the destructive
Thankfully,
aura of wind and
the
lightning.
purple saint partial
As it danced
spirit
in the air,
teleported Zhao Feng
wind
to
and
the
lightning
edge of the
exploded,
Tianlu Islands,
trapping the people
the
below.
Tianlu archipelago
At this point
region,
in time,
near the
ancient
remaining
tree
experts
region,
of the three
8
sects
desolate
were once
mountain.
again in despair.
A set of map
There was the
information
wind,
appeared
lightning
in
whip
Zhao
above,
Feng's mind,
and the ghost
this
corpse
map
cursed
recorded
array
the
below.
geographical
The only
location
person
of the
that had a
entire
chance
Ash
of
Gray
escaping
Sea.
was
The
Grandmaster
Ash Gray
Yin
Sea
Kong.
was a vast and
But if he
boundless
didn't,
sea region
he
of
would
the
lose
Void
Elder
Sea.
Shui Yan's
On the
healing,
map,
and
there
lose
were
one of
hundreds
his
of
legs.
islands similar
Silver
to the
spatial
Tianlu
restriction.
archipelago region.
Grandmaster
and the
Yin
ancient
Kong's
Azure
silver
Islands
eyes
region.
released a surge
The
of
Azure
spatial
Flower
bloodline
continent
power.
that Zhao Feng
This
was
time,
originally on was
his
just a
target
small
was the
part of
skeletal
the ancient
division
Azure
leader.
Islands region.
This was because the
From
skeletal
this,
division
just
leader
how big was the Ash Gray
controlling the
Sea?
ghost corpse
Furthermore,
cursed array.
aside
And
from these
affected
islands,
the balance of the
Ash
situation.
Gray Sea also had many small isolated
Purple
islands
destruction,
or some special
azure eye
geographical
piercing
features.
flash.
For
Zhao
example,
Feng
the
snickered
nearby
coldly
eight
as he
desolate
used his
mountain,
fastest eye bloodline
desolate
technique.
mountain,
Toward
after
Grandmaster
passing through
Yin
several
Kong.
million miles.
Schwa.
Surrounded
Able
by
to
wisps
leave
of
the
purple
Tianlu
destruction,
archipelago
wind,
region.
and thunder power,
Zhao Feng's body
huge
was surrounded by the
blade
light of
slashed
wind
towards
lightning.
Grandmaster
Yin
Whoosh.
Kong.
A purple
Grandmaster
and azure beam of
Kong's
wind lightning
expression
tore
changed
through the
slightly.
limitless ocean.
Schwa. The limitless
Grandmaster
ocean
Yin
wasn't
Kong's
just a
figure
normal
disappeared.
ocean. In this
Leaving
world,
behind a
every
silver
dimension
light.
is a misty
Just
ocean.
as his azure eye
the higher
piercing
you go,
mist once
the thinner
again.
and fainter the
Seeing
mist.
the azure eye
The
piercing
lower you go, the
disappear.
thicker the mist.
Zhao Feng had
As
a flash
Zhao
of
Feng
inspiration.
flew, he kept his
A
guard
bold
up.
idea
The
appeared
void
in his
misty
mind.
sea was home to
Bam.
some alien races.
The huge translucent
all sorts
blade
of
of
strange
nothingness
sea creatures,
self-destructed
and
in
even
the void.
some natural threats.
If green eye sharp
the bottom
slash
layer
and void
of the misty
movement
ocean was
are
extremely
combined in the
viscous.
former
is
when
endowed
the
with the
misty ocean
characteristics
formed
of
water
a spatial
droplets.
attack.
It was a true
Wouldn't
ocean.
that be? The ocean
Zhao
wasn't
Feng's
suitable
eyes
for
twinkled
humans
and his
to
heart
live in.
jumped.
In reality,
Zhao Feng,
in the limitless
me.
ocean, the skeletal
the
division
islands
leader
and
was
sacred
still
lands
under
were suitable
Grandmaster
for
Yin
humans
Kong's
to live
silver
in.
spatial
After the
restriction.
ancient desolate
and it couldn't
continent
move
was
at all.
destroyed,
It was still
billions
using
of
the
grains
dark
of
heart
dust
seed
were
to
sent
send a
across
message to
heaven
Zhao
and
Feng.
earth.
Without
These
the
grains
skeletal
formed
division
domains
leader, that were
the
suitable
ghost
for
corpse
normal
cursed
beings
array's
to live
power
in.
was halved in
For
a short
humans,
amount of time.
the limitless ocean
Seeing
was
that
a desolate
Lu Tianyi
domain.
and company had recovered,
Only a small number of
Grandmaster
beasts
Yin
and
Kong
races
smiled.
could live here.
Lu Tianyi,
You
Zhao
guys
Feng
are
flew
responsible
faster
for
and
killing
faster
the
through the
skeletal
limitless
division
ocean.
leader.
He was
It's
already
sealed by
10
my
times
spatial
faster
power and can't
than when
resist
he was
at
in
all.
the Azure Flower
Grandmaster
continent.
Yin Kong
In the
chuckled and
limitless
returned
ocean,
to Elder Shui
the air
Yan's
resistance
side.
and gravity
He still
were
needed Elder
extremely
Shui
low.
Yan's help
Even
for now.
those at the consolidated
realm
Lu
and
Tianyi
ascended
and
realm
company formed
could
a
easily
team
fly here
and forced their
However,
way through the ghost
the air
corpse
here was
cursed array
extremely
toward the
thin,
skeletal
and the
division
pressure was
leader.
abnormal.
Once Lu
Those
Tianyi
below
and
the
company
true
got
spirit
close,
realm could
the
explode
skeletal
and die if
division
they
leader
entered
would
the
die for
limitless
sure.
ocean.
At
Purple
the very
destruction,
least,
they
Azure
wouldn't
Eye
be able to
piercing
survive
slash.
for a long time.
Right at this moment,
the heaven earth
Zhao
yuan
Feng's
qi
second
is also
azure
very
eye piercing
thin.
slash
If I fly
through
for
the
too
air.
long, it was
Only
different from
primal
before.
crystal stones.
This time,
Zhao
the
Feng
azure
couldn't
eye
help but
piercing
sigh.
slash was only
Gulu,
1 meter long.
After flying
and
for
its
tens
power
of
was
thousands
more
of
condensed.
miles.
Thick
The
bubbles of
previous
essence
azure eye
chi
piercing
appeared in the
slash was
seawater
several
beneath
yards
the sea
long,
of fog,
but this time it's only 1 meter long. Although
In the
it's more
deep sea,
condensed, there is a
it only
specific
uses
region of
10%
yuan
of
qi.
my eye bloodline
However,
power.
there are usually
faint
some
smile
alien
appeared on
races
Zhao
or
Feng's
powerful
face.
demon beasts
Such a
living
small
there.
azure eye-piercing
Zhao
slash
Feng was
didn't
wary.
use much of his
He
eye
usually didn't
bloodline
get
power.
too close to
Of
the
course,
ocean while flying.
this was just a
Several
preparation
large
for
black
the next
figures
step.
suddenly rose
It's
from
useless.
the water.
You
Stirring
can't lock
up
onto
waves
me.
of water.
Grandmaster
Their powerful
Ying Kong
demonic
smiled and
auras
easily
far
dodged the
surpassed the
azure
beast
eye-piercing
Zhao Feng
slash
had encountered
still
in the
used
Azure
silver
Flower
spatial
continent.
restriction to
Looking
lock onto
closely,
the
it was
skeletal
several
division
black water
leader.
snakes.
Save me.
Each of them was
The
as thick as a
skeletal
bucket
division
and
leader
7
was
or 8
unable
yards
to
long.
move.
The
And
black
could only
water
watch
snakes
as
were
Lu Tianyi
extremely
approached
strong
it with the earth
and
grade
could fly
sky
freely in
killing
the air
slash.
after charging out
Right
of
at
the
this
ocean.
moment, the situation
This was because
changed.
the gravity and
The
air
meter-long
resistance in the
azure
limitless
eye-sharp
ocean
slash
were extremely
disappeared
low.
into thin
Furthermore,
air after missing
these
its
black
target.
water snakes had
Void,
powerful auras
space,
and weren't normal
movement.
beings. See, these pitch-black water snakes seemed to have some sort of sense of smell, and they shot through the air toward Zhao Feng from a distance of more than a dozen miles. Each of these water snakes has the strength of at least the true mystic rank, right? Zhao Feng didn't retreat. He wanted to test the strength of the beings in the limitless ocean. He had heard from Patriarch Hong that the minimum requirement to travel across the limitless ocean was to be at the true Lord rank. Normal true Lord ranks were in great danger and wouldn't be able to survive in the outer world. The danger would decrease after reaching the half-step origin core realm. Only those at the origin core realm would be able to enter the outer world without worry. Patriarch Hong had suggested that Zhao Feng enter the outer world after reaching the half-step origin core realm. However, Zhao Feng didn't have the cultivation of the half-step origin core realm yet. Destroy! Zhao Feng gently raised his hand and sent several azure blades of wind and lightning through the air. Shoo! Shoo! The black water snakes' bodies were sliced in half and blood splattered as their corpses fell into the ocean. They can't threaten me if they haven't reached the origin core realm. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. Go. All of a sudden, the seawater within a radius of several hundred miles surged violently, and waves surged violently. Zhao Feng suddenly felt uneasy, because he couldn't easily use his god's spiritual eye. He didn't understand the situation in the ocean too well. He sent out a sliver of his spiritual sense, and jumped up in fright. Even though Zhao Feng's spiritual sense was limited in the limitless ocean, his spiritual sense was limited. A sudden change occurred. Bam bam bam. Bam bam bam. Within several hundred miles, large amounts of beasts, mainly water snakes, leapt out of the ocean and entered the limitless ocean. Some of these beasts were as small as a palm while others were as big as small mountains. All of the creatures in the void sea could leave the sea for a short period of time and soar through the void sea. Woo! More than a dozen large beasts had auras comparable to half-step origin core realms. They were probably even stronger than normal half-step origin core realms. Furthermore, the other large amounts of black water snakes all had auras at the true spirit realm. These beasts seemed to follow the source of the smell of blood and charged over. Run! Zhao Feng's scalp went numb as he saw more and more beasts appear. Some of them even flew above his head. Wind lightning tornado. Zhao Feng used an area of effect wind lightning tornado that swept across a radius of 1 to 2 miles. In an instant, large swaths of the limitless ocean beasts and living beings that got close to Zhao Feng died, and their blood formed an ocean. However, the aura of blood and slaughter attracted more and more powerful beasts. Zhao Feng heard a deep roar come from the depths of the ocean. There was probably a beast at the origin core realm that had sensed something and was heading in this direction. In a short while, tens of thousands of beasts charged out of the limitless ocean and entered the limitless ocean. Master, this is probably your first time entering the limitless ocean. This is the territory of the limitless ocean beasts, and we can't leave any blood behind or else countless powerful beasts will come. The skeletal division leader within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl was also alerted. Zhao Feng knew that he had made a huge mistake. Let's get out of this area first. Under the guidance of the skeletal division leader, Zhao Feng flew higher and passed through some of the creatures in the limitless ocean. However, he couldn't fly too high. If they were too high up, there would be terrifying astral winds. Even venerables would be torn to pieces. Furthermore, if he flew too high, the limitless ocean would be burned by the ancient golden crow. Even a void god realm king's body and soul would be burnt to ashes if they were directly hit by the primordial golden crow. Human, where do you think you're going? Among the sea creatures, there were even some humanoid creatures with skin like fish scales. They held long tridents in their hands and spoke the human language. Whoosh! Zhao Feng didn't have time to pay attention to them. He flew 1,000 miles in one go and tried not to fight. Only then did the number of beasts decrease. The heaven-earth yuan qi in the limitless ocean is thin. It's not suitable for humans to fight here for too long. Zhao Feng felt that his true force was being used up quickly and being replenished quickly. If this continued, he would need primal crystal stones and other items to recover. At the same time, a few dozen miles behind Zhao Feng, a ship covered in metal flew over. It was around 20 to 30 yards long. The color of the ship was similar to the limitless ocean, and it was hard to detect. Boss seems to be an idiot. He dares to enter the limitless ocean alone with his late-stage true lord rank cultivation. Some ferocious figures appeared on the gray metal ship. Look at this brat's poor appearance. Rob him? We won't be able to get anything out of him, and will instead expose our tracks. Chapter 562. Who? Zhao Feng let out a breath after killing his way out. Master, we've been targeted by a group of pirates. The skeletal division leader spoke from within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. Void pirates? Zhao Feng didn't pay much attention when he was trying to break out, but he did notice something now. The main reason was that Zhao Feng had the aura of death in his soul, so he couldn't easily use the god's spiritual eye. Even if he used his spiritual sense, Zhao Feng couldn't use it in a large area. In essence, the senses of spiritual sense also came from the mind and soul. Void pirates are a group of bandits that roam the Void Sea. They usually work in groups and rob traveling merchants and pedestrians. However, from the looks of it, they don't seem to be planning on doing anything to Master. The skeletal division leader revealed a weird expression as it spoke. It specialized in the Tao of the ghost, so its mental energy senses were extremely sharp. The conversation of the pirates on the gray ship didn't escape the skeletal division leader's ears. What made the skeletal division leader want to laugh and cry was that these pirates thought that Zhao Feng was poor and didn't have anything to offer, so they didn't bother robbing him. The skeletal division leader didn't know how to describe what it was feeling. The wealth that Zhao Feng had was something that even an old origin core realm, like it would go crazy with jealousy. Putting aside the Earth-grade inheritance weapon and the 10,000 Ghost Pearl, just the resources that Zhao Feng had probably surpassed a normal one-star sect. Before leaving, Zhao Feng had excavated a large amount of resources in the Purple Saint ruins, filling up the majority of his ancient metal ring. These pirates would never have thought that this youth in front of them had so much wealth that they wouldn't be able to catch up even if they robbed for hundreds or thousands of years. So, at this moment, there were still a few scattered sea creatures in the vicinity, all of them rushing over to pursue Zhao Feng. Although Zhao Feng had escaped, he wasn't completely out of danger. Go! He didn't dare to stay any longer and continued to fly away. In his mind, the geography of the Tianlu archipelago region and this border region appeared with great clarity. This area belongs to the 8 Desolate Mountain. Zhao Feng looked ahead. Unfortunately, his left eye had returned to its normal black color and was unable to see through the mist, much less into the distance. Whoosh in the fog sea behind him, the gray metal ship was flying steadily and silently. The gray metal ship was covered in armor. The material was hard and strange. Attacks from ordinary sea creatures couldn't even leave a mark on it. The interior of the metal ship had its own layout. There were at least dozens of rooms. In the middle, there was even a small meeting hall. Boss, that brat is actually flying along the same route as us. Will it interfere with our plan? One of them, a scar-faced thug, said in a stern voice. If he doesn't know what's good for him, let us go over and get rid of him. No matter how thin a fly's leg is, it's still meat. The pirates were getting impatient. At this moment, Zhao Feng, who was flying in front, attracted the attention of this pirate crew. Apart from that, Zhao Feng's flight path and speed were very close to that of the gray ship. Endure it for a while. At the head of the table was a scholarly youth in blue. He was extremely handsome and didn't fit in with the vicious appearance of the pirate leader. The pirate leader in blue seemed to be deep in thought. There are more sea creatures nearby, and there's even the aura of a sovereign not long ago. If this brat affects our plan, killing him 10,000 times won't be enough to make up for it. As they spoke, the pirates were filled with disdain for Zhao Feng's existence, and they were still brooding over it. They couldn't kill him, but it would affect their mood if they didn't. Whoosh! Zhao Feng followed the map in his mind and flew forward. However, what made him speechless was that the pirates behind him were staring at him and not doing anything. The skeletal division leader didn't understand. At this moment, the pirates had all entered the interior of the metal ship, so it didn't dare to go too deep. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, the silhouette of a huge mountain range loomed in the distant sky, standing tall in the sea of void. In the sea of void, the higher one went, the thinner the sea of mist became. In the end, it became even brighter. Therefore, even from far away, one could see the outline of the mountain range. That's the 8 Desolate Mountain. Zhao Feng could feel the heaven-earth yuan-qi here. Although it wasn't as dense as the Azure Flower continent, it was still several times denser than normal. According to the map, the 8 Desolate Mountain was the only place that was suitable for humans to live in within several million miles. In the limitless ocean, apart from islands like the Green Flower continent, there were many other places that weren't truly continents. These places included deserts, mountains, swamps, lakes, etc. Apart from that, there were also many strange and unimaginable places. The 8 Desolate Mountain in front of them was the size of the cloud area, and it was mainly made up of mountains. At the same time, "Boss, the target has appeared." The expressions of the pirates on the gray ship changed. The pirate leader in blue nodded his head faintly. "We can attack when we're a bit closer." "Humph, when I make my move later, I'll get rid of that brat as well." The scarred pirate licked his lips. So the gray ship sped up. Zhao Feng, who was flying at the front, felt that something was wrong. It wasn't just the pirate ship behind him. So, after traveling for another few hundred miles, a small dark blue ship appeared in the fog ahead. The dark blue fortress ship was the size of an ordinary 3-story building. It was surrounded by a layer of faint blue wind, and it rode the wind and waves in the sea of void mist. As soon as Zhao Feng got close, he felt several powerful auras, all at the half-step origin core realm. These pressuring energies seemed to be warning Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was alone in this foreign land, so he obviously didn't want to attract any trouble. So he decided to take a detour. Ha ha ha. A measly late-stage true lord rank dares to travel alone in the limitless ocean? Could this brat be some young master that ran away from home? Several figures appeared on the dark blue ship, and when they saw Zhao Feng's figure, they teased him with playful expressions. Obviously, it was rare for someone at the true lord rank to travel alone in the limitless ocean. On the dark blue ship, the leader was an elder with his hands behind his back. The people next to him were all at the half-step origin core realm. Origin core realm. Zhao Feng felt a faint mental energy aura coming from the elder in flower robes. The elder in flowery robes only faintly glanced over Zhao Feng and didn't pay him much attention. The closest island is tens of millions of miles away. His cultivation isn't much different from mine, but he's able to cross the limitless ocean. Incredible. The voice of a girl sounded. Next to the sovereign elder was an ordinary-looking girl. Her eyes twinkled as she looked at Zhao Feng with admiration. Hearing this, some of the figures who were laughing were stunned. It wasn't normal for a measly late-stage true lord rank to be able to cross the limitless ocean by himself and come out unharmed. There's definitely something wrong with this youth. The eyes of several older experts on the dark blue ship twinkled with suspicion and wariness. Zhao Feng was just about to go around the ship when he felt the suspicious gazes and heard their conversation. He almost rolled his eyes. Right at this moment, a chilling murderous intent came from the sea of mist behind him. Whoosh! The gray ship sped up and closed in. The sovereign elder felt that Zhao Feng's existence was weird and started to scan with his spiritual sense. Everyone watch out. There's an ambush from the pirates nearby. His expression changed dramatically as he scanned with his spiritual sense. Instantly, more than a dozen figures on the dark blue ship acted as if they were facing a great enemy. I told you there's definitely something wrong with this brat. I'm afraid he's a spy from the Void Pirate Group. Several of the older experts, including the sovereign elder, glared at Zhao Feng with enmity. But now, the focus wasn't on Zhao Feng anymore. On the gray metal ship, dozens of powerful and brutal auras tore through the air and approached them. The leader of the pirates was a blue-clothed scholar. As he flew, he carried an indescribably vast yuan-qi power, causing wisps of light blue water lightning ripples to appear. Without a doubt, this pirate in blue also had the cultivation of the origin core realm. Not good. It's the Blue Lightning Pirates. The old man's heart sank, and he couldn't help but take a deep breath while he gazed at the blue-clothed scholar, with a gaze that carried deep fear. Blue Lightning Pirates. One of the top 10 pirate groups near the Eight Desolate Mountain. Chaos broke out on the dark blue ship. Whoosh! The Blue Lightning Pirates had the weakest cultivation at the peak True Lord rank, and there were 5 or 6 at the half-step Origin Core realm. The dozen or so people on the ship formed an array, as if they were facing a great enemy. The Blue Lightning Pirates had the advantage in terms of numbers and the quality of their elites. Arg! As soon as the two sides clashed, screams came from the ship. Blue Lightning Pirate, stop. I don't have anything valuable on this ship. If you want a ransom, we can talk about it. There's no need to fight to the death. The Sovereign Elder quickly stopped him. Usually, void pirates would come for treasures. Essentially, it was a kind of resource robbery. Sometimes, merchant groups were willing to pay a fee or ransom to ensure the safety of the people. Hee old Huang, I don't need any ransom. As long as you hand over Lady Lulan, I'll let you live. The scholar in blue smiled faintly. Lady Lulan? How do you know? The flower-robed venerable was aghast. His heart sank in disbelief. The blue-clad scholar did not attack for now. He smiled faintly as he looked at the plain-looking, bright-eyed girl beside the flower-clothed venerable. Impossible. The Sovereign Elder's voice was cold. Even if I die, I'll bring Lady Lulan back to the Pure Moon spiritual sect. The Lulan family is on her. Kill everyone. Capture Lulan Jishui alive. The scholar in blue ordered. Instantly, the two sides started to fight in the air. So that's how it is. Zhao Feng couldn't help but understand why this pirate group hadn't done anything to him yet. However, it didn't seem to have anything to do with him. Zhao Feng's expression didn't change as he prepared to go around. Zhezha, you want to run in front of the Blue Lightning Pirates? A scarred man with 2 peak True Lord ranks charged in Zhao Feng's direction. Chapter 563. The two sides started fighting on the limitless sea. The Void Pirates had an overwhelming advantage. The pirates were vicious and experienced. They split up and surrounded the ship. Boom! The two sovereigns clashed in the air, and the heaven-earth Yuan Qi howled, and created a storm that swept across dozens of miles. Everlasting water lightning. The blue-clothed pirate leader waved his hand, and waves of dazzling water and lightning splendor appeared, combining toughness and gentleness to form a water screen with a diameter of 1,000 feet. Whoosh! Whoosh! When the old man's palms approached the lightning pattern on the water screen, they were instantly weakened and dissipated. A portion of them was even absorbed by the lightning pattern. In the next instant, the limitless water lightning pattern glowed dazzlingly and formed a reverse vortex. The raging water lightning created an immeasurable backlash. Bam! After exchanging a blow, the old man was forced back a few steps and let out a muffled groan. The information was indeed correct. Old man Huang, you're only a measly middle-stage small origin core realm. Even if you weren't injured, you wouldn't be my match. The blue-clothed pirate leader was relaxed as he circulated his profound water lightning Upanishad to suppress the venerable one. So, the sovereign on the ship was still injured and could only use 70 to 80% of his battle power. The origin core realm is split into the small origin core realm and the great origin core realm, which are split into early, middle, and late stages. Zhao Feng's gaze swept over the two sovereigns. The sovereign was at the middle stage small origin core realm, and his strength was roughly the same as the skeletal division leader. On the other hand, the pirate leader in blue was at the late stage small origin core realm. Whether it was in terms of cultivation or the profoundness of their battle skills, the blue-clothed pirate leader was far superior. What interested Zhao Feng the most was that the pirate leader in blue cultivated the water lightning inheritance. Water lightning, with lightning, wind lightning. These were all inheritances related to lightning. Zhao Feng's wind lightning inheritance focused on speed and offense. On the other hand, the pirate leader in blue's water lightning inheritance focused on both offense and defense. In terms of defense, the pirate leader in blue's water lightning inheritance had the advantage. Little Featherhead, How dare you get distracted in front of us? The scarred man led the other two pirates and charged over with a ferocious momentum. However, this youth did not seem to be in the right state of mind. To think that he had the time to pay attention to the battle between two primal core cultivators. Haha, this is probably the kid's first time entering the Void Sea. He has never seen such a grand scene before. The other peak True Lord rank pirate was full of disdain. Swoosh, swoosh. The scar-faced man and the other two pirates quickly surrounded Zhao Feng. One of the peak True Lord ranks waved a silver whip that turned into a silver dragon that wrapped around Zhao Feng. Supreme Grade Spirit Rank Divine Weapon. Zhao Feng showed surprise on his face. The strength of these pirates surpassed his expectations. After all, the Dark Oriole used by the vice leader of the Iron Blood sect was only close to the top grade of the spirit rank, and it might even be comparable to the top grade of the spirit rank. On the other hand, on the Void Sea, an ordinary pirate used a powerful spiritual supreme grade divine weapon right off the bat. But on second thought, the minimum requirement to travel the limitless ocean was to be a true lord rank. These void pirates were able to rob the merchants on the Void Sea. In their respective regions, they were definitely peerless experts who commanded the wind and clouds. Chiao, in the blink of an eye, the silver dragon whip howled, sealing off Zhao Feng's path of retreat. The one who attacked was only one of the pirates. The other two had playful expressions, as if they were watching a good show. It was obvious that they thought that one person was enough to kill Zhao Feng. The reason why they sent three was because they were wary of Zhao Feng's speed. Fuck off. Zhao Feng didn't dodge the silver dragon whip. Instead, an azure light appeared on his palm, and a powerful ripple of wind and lightning swept across everything within 100 yards. Woo! The pirate who attacked harumphed as his body went numb. Shwa! Before he could react, a dazzling ray of wind and thunder split his body apart at lightning speed. Arg! The peak True Lord rank screamed and died on the spot. This scene made the hearts of the scar-faced man and the other peak True Lord rank jump. So fast. The two were dazed for a short period of time. They originally thought that they would be able to kill this brat, but in the blink of an eye, he had killed a pirate. Watch out. This brat's wind lightning inheritance is extremely profound. The scar-faced man's eyes flashed as he released the aura of a half-step origin core realm. The remaining two pirates had solemn expressions and didn't dare to underestimate Zhao Feng. Even the scar-faced man, who was at the half-step origin core realm, wasn't confident that he could kill a peak True Lord rank pirate in one move. Kill! The scar-faced man and the other pirate exchanged glances and attacked Zhao Feng together. The attacks of the half-step origin core realm and peak True Lord rank enveloped Zhao Feng with a gust of wind. This power could instantly kill a normal True Lord rank with the flip of a hand. AI. A sigh sounded from the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. The skeletal division leader felt sorry for these pirates. More than one or two sovereigns had died in Zhao Feng's hands, let alone these small shrimps. Even if Zhao Feng couldn't easily use his eye bloodline, he could basically ignore anyone under the origin core realm. Shwa! The attacks of the two pirates destroyed the afterimages left behind. Arg! The other peak True Lord rank screamed as he was sliced in half by a blade of wind and lightning. See! The scar-faced man couldn't help but take in a cold breath. Even a half-step origin core realm wouldn't be able to catch up to this youth's speed. A peak True Lord rank pirate could be killed like a carrot in front of him. What's going on? The deaths of two pirates in a row by Zhao Feng caught the attention of the other pirates. Even the blue-clothed pirate leader, who was in the middle of battle, glanced over. However, before the pirates could figure out what was going on, Zhao Feng attacked for the third time and slashed the scar-faced man. Whoosh! It was still a flash of wind and lightning, but there was a wisp of purple lightning that made the hearts of the spectators tremble instinctively. 8 Slaughter Sky-Sealing Fist. The scar-faced man exerted all of his strength and unleashed his trump card. He struck out 8 illusory fist imprints that faintly emitted an ancient and barbaric aura. Layers upon layers of seals enveloped this part of the world. One had to admit that the Scarface man's strength had surpassed Tiamat's and many half-step origin core realms in the Azure Flower continent. However, the scarred man's powerful secret technique was destroyed by the purple destruction tempest. It couldn't even withstand a single blow. Arg! The Scarface man's body was sliced in half, leaving behind 2 pieces of charred flesh. This scene caused the hearts of both the pirates and the ship to shake. This youth's battle power is terrifying. Respect and even fear appeared in the eyes of the 2 sides. In an instant, a half-step origin core realm and 2 true lord ranks had been slain by this youth. This youth isn't simple. I'm the top genius in the 8 desolate mountain, but compared to him, I'm nothing. The bright-eyed girl, Lulan Jishui, clicked her tongue and found it hard to calm down. After losing 3 pirates, the situation attracted the attention of the blue-clothed pirate leader. Could that youth's technique be? The blue-clothed pirate leader was surprised when he noticed the situation. It wasn't just Zhao Feng's strength. The profoundness of his wind-lightning technique also attracted the attention of the blue-clothed pirate leader. The blue-clothed pirate leader cultivated the water and lightning lineage's legacy cultivation method. However, he knew that it wasn't comparable to Zhao Feng's wind-lightning inheritance. Hong San Jiaoxi, with a wave of his hand, the blue-clothed bandit leader beat the flower-robed venerable man until he vomited blood. Then he ordered his 2 capable subordinates to take action. Boss, will stall that brat. Among the void pirates attacking the ship, 2 small leaders with powerful auras retreated. One of them was an elder with a walking stick, and the other was an ugly man wearing a unique set of scales. Both of their cultivations were at the half-step origin core realm, but their auras were stronger than the scarred man's. Brat! How dare you kill my brother? I'll skin you layer by layer. The scaly man sneered as a broken crimson-black blade appeared in his hand. The scarlet-black blade radiated a wisp of the terrifying aura of an earth-grade weapon, and the nearby beings all felt a suffocating pressure. Broken earth-grade weapon. Zhao Feng's eyes narrowed. The walking stick elder's was even more unique, and its aura was between the peak spiritual grade and low-tier earth grade. Pseudo-earth grade weapon. The skeletal division leader in the 10,000 Ghost Pearl exclaimed. Zhao Feng had heard about pseudo-earth grade weapons. They were made from a broken earth grade weapon and merged with the essence of a spiritual grade weapon to create a complete weapon. Although pseudo-earth grade weapons weren't as strong as true earth grade weapons, they were more complete than broken earth grade weapons. Brat, stay behind. The old man with the walking stick and the scaly man made their moves at the same time. The illusory figures of 2 earth grade divine weapons appeared in the sky, faintly emitting a divine might that looked down on the world. Zhao Feng's expression changed as he was trapped by the auras of the 2 earth grade weapons. With these 2 teaming up, they'll be able to stall even normal sovereigns for a while. The wind lightning on Zhao Feng's body became brighter, and wisps of destruction wind lightning started to appear. Shua! Shua! Zhao Feng's speed and the power of his attacks rose to a whole new level. Pa! Boom! A layer of wind and lightning swept out, forming a vast storm that emitted an aura of destruction that could penetrate the very essence of living beings. The walking stick elder and the ugly man weren't scared at all, as they teamed up to destroy the tornado of wind lightning. However, at the same time, a dazzling lightning shadow charged out of the combined attack of the 2 and launched another counterattack. Purple destruction, wind lightning whip. A whip of wind lightning formed in Zhao Feng's hand. It was dozens of yards long and contained the power of wind lightning yuan qi. Pa! Pa! Boom! As the purple destruction wind lightning whip danced in the air, wind and lightning exploded. It was filled with a destructive wind and lightning aura, as it fought fiercely with the 2 pirate captains. What kind of inheritance did this brat cultivate? His battle power is terrifying. The 2 pirate leaders had a broken earth-grade weapon and a pseudo-earth-grade weapon, but they couldn't gain any advantage. Purple destruction wind lightning? Could it really be the inheritance of the legendary wind lightning emperor? On the other side, the blue-clothed bandit leader's heart began to beat rapidly. He was completely attracted to this battle. Chapter 564. Could it really be the inheritance of the legendary Wind Lightning Emperor? The pirate leader's heart skipped a beat as his attention was attracted. The cultivation technique he cultivated was of the water lightning lineage. Naturally, he had a certain understanding of the Lightning Dao's inheritances and the many legendary figures. In the vast Song Sea, the Wind Thunder Emperor was definitely one of the best among the legendary figures of the Tao of Thunder. 10,000 years ago, the Wind Lightning Emperor shocked several spiritual sacred lands, and his speed was unparalleled in the Tsang Ocean. As an inheritor of the Tao of Lightning, the pirate leader had obviously heard of the legends of the Wind Lightning Emperor. According to all the signs, he suspected that this youth might have received some of the inheritance of the Wind Lightning Emperor. This brat's speed has surpassed the half-step origin core realm, and he's using the unique purple destruction Wind Lightning from the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance. To be able to fight against Hong San and Jiao Si by himself was not something an ordinary inherited realm expert could do. One has to know that Hong San and Jiao Si once teamed up to stop an origin core realm. The pirate leader analyzed and became more and more certain of his guesses. Greed appeared in his eyes, and he couldn't control the excitement in his heart. That was the legacy of a great emperor. Furthermore, the Wind Lightning Emperor wasn't a normal Void God Realm Emperor. Almost no one in the Tsang Ocean could do anything to him. Purple Destruction, Wind Lightning Whip. Zhao Feng used the secret technique of Wind Lightning and fought against the two pirate leaders by himself. He wasn't at a disadvantage at all, and he even had the upper hand. Stop him! The elder with the walking stick and the ugly man became more and more shocked as they fought. They didn't think they could kill Zhao Feng, so they followed the pirate leader's orders and stopped Zhao Feng first. The battle power of these two is even stronger than Lu Tianyi before he became a origin core realm. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. If he didn't take out some killing moves, he wouldn't be able to finish them off in a short amount of time. After all, these two pirate leaders could fight against an origin core realm sovereign if they teamed up. Zhao Feng wasn't impatient. He had comprehended more than 1/5 of the purple Wind Lightning, but he hadn't used it much in actual combat. The strength of these two pirate leaders was not bad, and they were suitable to be used as test subjects. Otherwise, Zhao Feng only needed to use the Ice Imperial Spear or activate the Ghost Corp's Cursed Array to end the battle in a short time. He didn't even need to do anything. The Skeletal Division leader would be able to deal with it. During the battle, Zhao Feng continued to use the Purple Destruction Wind Lightning Profundity in his mind. Through actual combat, he tried to verify some of his guesses. Swoosh! Zhao Feng's speed increased as he weaved through the wind and lightning. The Purple Destruction Wind Lightning aura on his body became more refined and smooth. He didn't need to use the Wings of Tempest to be faster than the other two. As the battle continued, the elder with the walking stick and the scale-skinned man grew more and more fearful. The pressure they faced didn't decrease, but increased instead. At the same time, the people on the ship were surrounded, and they were not out of danger yet. Thankfully, on the pirates' side, the old man with the walking stick and the scaly man were sent away. Zhao Feng also killed 3 of them. The people on the ship were able to hold on for a while. However, the leader of the ship, the sovereign in multicolored clothes, was in danger. Old man Huang, with your injured body, you won't be able to escape if you can hold on for another half the time it takes to make tea. The expression of the scholar in blue was grim. The sovereign in multicolored clothes didn't care about the price, and this made him angry. At this moment, the pirate in blue was worried that Zhao Feng would run away. More accurately speaking, run away. This was because Zhao Feng's speed surpassed the 2 pirate leaders. It wouldn't be hard for him to run away. However, it wasn't easy to kill a sovereign in a short amount of time, even if it was an injured sovereign. On the other side, Zhao Feng's advantage became bigger and bigger. In his mind, in the dilapidated Wind Lightning inheritance world, all sorts of Wind Lightning energies appeared in various forms. Zhao Feng focused his comprehension on the Purple Destruction Wind Lightning. Through the battle, Zhao Feng's understanding of the laws of Wind Lightning had been tested, and he had comprehended some small details. Purple Destruction Wind Lightning Snake Dance. The wind lightning whip in Zhao Feng's hand became more condensed, and the power of destruction wind lightning contained within it became purer and purer. Furthermore, the wind lightning whip was like a living snake of wind and lightning. Its attacks were tricky, penetrating and entangling with Xiao Chun. With the naked eye, Zhao Feng seemed to be surrounded by snakes of wind lightning that danced around him. They left behind afterimages as they attacked relentlessly. Whoosh! Bam! Boom! The elder with the walking stick and the scaly man were completely beaten up. Zhao Feng's mental energy level was also extremely high, comparable to an Origin Core Realm sovereign. The power he could unleash from the wind lightning inheritance rose dramatically. I can't fight for long. Zhao Feng increased his offense and fully unleashed the intent of a sovereign. Although he had cut off the blood contract with the scorpion, it still attracted the attention of the three sections. Not good. On the other side, the expression of the pirate leader in blue changed dramatically. In his field of vision, the unknown youth was beating the two elite leaders of the Blue Thunder pirate group, forcing them to retreat. Arg! The elder with the walking stick and the scaly man screamed as scorch marks appeared on their bodies. Zhao Feng's attacks contained the power of destruction, and the injuries caused by it were hard to recover. In just a short while, the two pirate leaders began to retreat, their injuries piling up. However, how could their speed compare to Zhao Feng's? Arg! The scaly man screamed as one of his legs was wrapped by the wind lightning snake whip. His body twitched and black smoke came out. Crack! He had sacrificed one of his legs and burned his source of true spirit to save his life. Shua! Zhao Feng's figure flashed once again, and the wind lightning snake whip hit the back of the elder with the walking stick. Wah! The elder with the walking stick spat out a mouthful of blood and was pushed back 100 yards. Help! Run! The two pirate leaders covered their heads and ran. If they didn't run, they would lose their lives. Humph! The wind lightning snake whip in Zhao Feng's hand disappeared as he ignored the two and flew in another direction. The two groups couldn't help but be surprised. After heavily injuring the two pirate leaders, Zhao Feng didn't continue to chase and didn't help either side. Instead, he turned around and left. Junior, stop right there. The pirate leader in blue finally couldn't take it anymore and roared. At this moment, he was in a dilemma. If he left the sovereign in multicolored clothes behind, the pirates without a sovereign would be slaughtered. Furthermore, if he chased after Zhao Feng, he might face a pincer attack from Zhao Feng and the sovereign in multicolored clothes. With Zhao Feng's battle power close to the sovereign realm, the situation wouldn't be optimistic if he teamed up with the sovereign in multicolored clothes. No one knew if Zhao Feng still had any hidden cards. After all, he had obtained the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance. However, if Zhao Feng left, the Wind Lightning Emperor's inheritance might be lost. Bro, these void pirates are a common enemy. Can we work together to repel them? I'll be grateful. The sovereign in multicolored clothes also yelled. Hearing this, the pirate leader's expression changed again. Once Zhao Feng joined the pirates, the situation would instantly change. What was unexpected was, Zhao Feng didn't choose the pirates, nor did he care about the pirate leader. Logically speaking, if Zhao Feng was attacked by the pirates, he should have chosen to help the ship. That was the most logical and moral thing to do. If you can help, I'm willing to agree to any request, and the Lulan family will repay you tenfold. A light female voice came from the direction of the ship. The owner of the voice was Lulan Jishui. At this moment, Lulan Jishui's ordinary face was no longer there. Instead, it was replaced with a face as beautiful as jade. It was like a snow-white porcelain, flawless like jade. There was a faint blush on her cheeks, making her look extremely charming. Lady Lulan. Some males from both sides fell into a momentary daze. In this misty world, there was a peerlessly beautiful and pitiful beauty. She was like a sunset in the evening. The words, "I'm willing to agree to any request," made everyone's hearts shake. Unfortunately, this sentence wasn't directed at anyone from either side. What was even more incredible was that the youth in front of them was like a wooden statue that turned around and flew away. Both sides were stunned, facing Lulan Jishui's promise And the Lulan family's gratitude. That brat had no reaction at all? Something's wrong. The pirates found that something was wrong. Zhao Feng didn't fly in the direction of the 8 desolate mountain, but in the opposite direction. Zhao Feng turned into a bolt of wind and lightning as he charged through the sea of mist toward the gray metallic ship. This was the Blue Lightning Pirate Group's ship. Arg! The pirates guarding the gray metal ship were only at the early stage or late stage True Lord ranks, and they were scared out of their wits. Bam! Zhao Feng landed on the gray metal ship. Master! This limitless ocean ship is made of void ocean silver crystal. Its defense is extremely strong, and it's suitable for flying across the limitless ocean. If I'm not wrong, this ship can even enter the ocean and disguise itself. The skeletal division leader within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl laughed. It was obvious that the skeletal division leader was very satisfied with this ship. Next, Zhao Feng easily defeated all the pirates on the gray metal ship. Hee. As long as one has enough primal crystal stones and some people, they can control the ship and travel across the limitless ocean. The people on the ship don't have to worry about the exhaustion of flying, and they can spend more time cultivating. The skeletal division leader explained, because they needed people to maintain the ship, Zhao Feng left some alive. In reality, stealing the limitless ocean ship was also the skeletal division leader's idea. Hearing this, Zhao Feng was extremely tempted. After all, he didn't need to fly so bitterly, and he could spend more time cultivating. After all, Zhao Feng wanted to find the Sky Sacred Qin Palace, and he needed a ship if he wanted to cross the sea under the control of another spiritual sacred land. The journey would be long and arduous, and he would need a ship. Shameless bastard. The blue-clothed pirate leader, who was fighting in front of him, almost exploded with rage. His previous worries were completely unnecessary. Not only did Zhao Feng not retreat, he even took the chance to steal the ship. On the Blue Thunder Pirate Group's side, everyone cursed in anger. As pirates, one day, they would be robbed by others while they were in trouble. Chapter 565. On the limitless ocean, the two sides seemed to come to a momentary pause, as Zhao Feng took advantage of the situation from the back. This shameless thief. Stop him. We can't let the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship fall into his hands. The pirates were dazed for a moment before they started to curse. On the ship, Lulan Jishui and company were dumbfounded as they watched Zhao Feng steal the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. This young man is too daring. He even dares to rob the Blue Thunder Pirate Group's ship. The Blue Thunder Pirate Group was one of the top 10 pirate groups around the 8 Desolate Mountain. Many merchants and merchants nearby were terrified of the Blue Thunder Pirate Group. Even though the Blue Lightning Pirate Group wasn't one of the strongest pirate groups, but they were more agile and stealthy than most other pirate groups. Their greatest advantage was their excellent void ocean ships. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship had several hundred years of history, and it was one of the strongest ships around the 8 Desolate Mountain. Its speed, stealthiness, and defense were all top-notch. Preposterous. Even though the blue-robed scholar was calm and patient, he was enraged. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship was one of his biggest trump cards. If this ship was stolen, the Blue Lightning Pirates would be removed from the list of the top 10 pirate groups. Water Lightning Flipping Hand. The blue-clothed scholar didn't care about the price. He activated the source energy in his body and sent out a giant hand of lightning that covered half a mile. An endless pressure like that of Mount Tai appeared. The light and darkness of the lightning twisted, sealing the entire area. Wah! The already injured venerable in flowery robes was sent flying a kilometer away by the heaven-flipping hand. Wah! The sovereign spat out a mouthful of blood and almost fell into the limitless ocean. Brat! How dare you steal my void ship? The scholar in blue was enraged, and a cruel expression appeared on his face. At this moment, he no longer cared about the injured and retreating venerable in flowery robes. Instead, he counterattacked. Retreat! Kill that thief and take back the ship. The blue-clothed scholar ordered coldly, and led the pirates to retreat, attacking Zhao Feng, who was behind them. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship was the foundation of the pirate group, and it couldn't be lost. Furthermore, that kid might have gotten the inheritance of the Wind Lightning Emperor, so there was no time to lose. On the other side, the flowery-clothed venerable was slightly surprised. If the blue-clothed scholar had fought fiercely for a while longer, he would have had the chance to kill him, and then it would not have been too late to deal with Xiao Feng. The people on the ship wore terrified expressions, and at the same time, they were slightly startled. Seeing that the people on the ship were in a life-and-death situation, the Blue Lightning Bandit suddenly gave the order to retreat and charged at Xiao Feng. Hee, that kid left us in the lurch earlier. Now it's his turn to suffer. Some people on the ship said gloatingly. Everyone nodded in agreement. Uncle Huang, that youth is extremely talented and possesses extraordinary strength. If we can save him and join forces against the pirates, we should have a 40 to 50% chance of success. Otherwise, the Blue Lightning Bandit would be able to quickly kill him and return to the Black Lightning sect. Lulan Jishui's eyebrows furrowed as she analyzed. Honestly speaking, she felt a certain amount of disgust toward Zhao Feng's actions of leaving her to die, but under the current situation, teaming up with Zhao Feng was the best way out. Jishui, the flowery-clothed sovereign, shook his head bitterly and said, even if we teamed up with that youth, we would still die. The only way to survive is to take you back to the 8 Desolate Mountain and abandon everyone on the ship. Hearing this, Lulan Jishui looked at the flowery-clothed sovereign in disbelief. Obviously, the flowery-clothed sovereign's injuries were several times more serious than she had imagined, and he must be suppressing his injuries. The Blue Lightning Bandit's attack before he left had deeply injured the Venerable One's foundation. Abandon everyone on the ship. Lulan Jishui looked like she could not bear it, and a trace of struggle appeared on her pretty face. But if she didn't do this, the flowery-clothed sovereign would most likely die if he continued to fight. At that time, no one would be able to escape. Jishui, quickly return to the 8 Desolate Mountain with me while that brat is still busy. The flowery-clothed sovereign wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and landed in front of Lulan Jishui. Could it be, there's no chance at all? Lulan Jishui couldn't bear the shame and looked at the youth in the fog. At this moment, the blue-clothed scholar led the pirates and charged at Zhao Feng on the gray metal ship. He was somewhat surprised. The young man slowly put away the gray metal ship and then looked at the blue-robed scholar and the others calmly. Surround him. The blue-clothed scholar suspected that there was a trap and didn't attack immediately. The sovereign elder in multicolored clothes couldn't help but be surprised by Zhao Feng's performance. Of course, the stronger Zhao Feng was, the more advantageous it was for their escape. Watch out! Kill that brat first. The blue-clothed pirate leader ordered as rings of water and lightning descended from the sky and pressed down on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng immediately felt a profound power of water and lightning crashing over. The power of water and lightning was fierce and domineering, but also gentle. Rings of wind and lightning. Zhao Feng's figure leapt into the air as rings of azure and purple wind and lightning surrounded him. They charged in all directions, creating dozens of wind and lightning rings at every moment, attacking and defending in one. Boom! Crackle! The two powers of lightning clashed in the air for a breath or two. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng had the advantage. The aura of the purple destruction wind lightning, and his speed must be the inheritance of the Wind Lightning Emperor. Luckily, this brat only comprehended a little of the purple destruction wind lightning. The blue-clothed pirate leader wanted to capture Zhao Feng alive, so he only used 60 to 70% of his strength. Bam! Zhao Feng's rings of wind and lightning started to dim, and the majority of them were shattered. His figure quickly retreated. The power of water and lightning of the Blue Lightning Pirate leader is extremely profound. Although Zhao Feng's inheritance was of a high rank, and he had the advantage in attack speed, he still couldn't fight against a pirate that had cultivated for several hundred years. The blue-clothed pirate leader's cultivation was similar to Elder Shui Yun's. They were both at the late-stage small origin core realm. With Zhao Feng's current strength, he couldn't easily use his eye bloodline, so he could only fight against early-stage small origin core realms and fight against middle-stage small origin core realms for a while. The blue-clothed pirate leader didn't use his full strength, but he was still able to suppress Zhao Feng. Ice Imperial Spear. After fighting for a while, Zhao Feng released a portion of the Ice Imperial Spear's aura, and an ancient coldness swept toward the blue-clothed pirate leader. This brat's incomplete Earth-grade weapon is probably not simple. The blue-clothed pirate leader was overjoyed. Even though they were both Earth-grade weapons, there were different grades. Some of the shards or fragments of Earth-ranked weapons were low-grade, some were mid-grade, and there were even high-grade, inheritance-type Earth-ranked weapons. Unfortunately, if that brat teamed up with me earlier, we might have been able to defeat the Blue Lightning pirate leader. The Sovereign Elder was shocked by Zhao Feng's strength and couldn't help but feel regretful. Zhao Feng's strength was comparable to normal early-stage small origin core realms, but the Blue Lightning pirate leader's cultivation was too high. Just as he was about to fall into a disadvantage again. I should be able to suppress this person if I use the Ghost Corpse Cursed Array. Ort? Zhao Feng didn't panic. A thought flashed through his mind, and as he dodged, he suddenly waved his hand. Shwa! In the dark gray fog, a ghastly and horrifying skeleton emerged. The skeleton was dark gold and silver, and there were 2 balls of dim flames dancing in its eye sockets. It was a ghastly sight. A thick aura of death energy filled the limitless sea. Countless sea creatures within a radius of several hundred miles felt their souls throbbing. Ghost Dao Bone Refining, sovereign of the origin core realm. The pirate leader's expression changed dramatically. The smile on his face froze as he suppressed Zhao Feng. From the aura alone, he could tell that this sovereign wasn't weak. The pirate leader even felt the faint aura of an Earth-grade weapon. Sovereign at the origin core realm, the flower-clothed venerable lord, who was about to retreat, could not help but cry out when he saw this scene. In the limitless ocean, most of the experts that appeared were peak existences, and were at least at the true lord rank or true spirit realm. Therefore, the true lord ranks in the limitless ocean were the most common. However, once one's cultivation reached the primal core realm, it would be different. They were rare even in the void sea, and could be considered experts. And now, if Zhao Feng waved his hand and summoned an origin core realm expert, the situation would be completely different. Zhe, it's been a long time since I've come out to exercise. The skeletal division leader's body glowed with a dark black light, and when it waved its fists, a soul-shaking purple-black light appeared. At this moment, the skeletal division leader's cultivation had recovered to its peak. Furthermore, with the support of the resources in the Purple Saint ruins, its strength was much stronger than before. That earth-ranked divine weapon, the 9 Evil Een Bone Thorn, was extraordinary. After merging with his bones, it greatly strengthened the toughness of his bones, as well as his strength and defense. The moment it attacked, the skeletal division leader met the ripples of water and lightning head-on, and charged toward the pirate leader. Every punch and palm contained the power of death, and with the addition of the 9 deadly Een Bone, the skeletal division leader's battle power surpassed normal sovereigns. The flower-clothed venerable lord, who was watching the battle from afar, could not help but be moved. At least, he knew that he wouldn't be the skeletal division leader's match if he wasn't injured. The skeletal division leader specialized in mental energy and the Ghost Dao Bone Refining. Its attacks could target both the physical and mental energy dimensions. Purple Destruction, Wind Lightning Snake Dance. Snakes of wind and lightning danced around Zhao Feng's body and attacked the Blue Lightning pirate lord in a tricky manner. Being sandwiched from both sides, the Blue Lightning bandit couldn't resist and started cursing. Although he had a support-type Earth-grade weapon, its power couldn't be compared to the skeletal division leader's 9 deadly Een Bone. 9 deadly Een Bone. The skeletal division leader took out its Earth-grade weapon, and a dark silver bone spike dozens of yards long shot into the air with a piercing screech. Arg! The shockwaves slaughtered some peak true lord ranks nearby. The Blue Lightning pirate leader was pushed back and cursed in anger. At the same time, he was being attacked by Zhao Feng's Purple Destruction, Wind Lightning Snake Whip. His blood churned, and he was already slightly injured. The skeletal division leader's battle power has increased quite a bit. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Under the situation where he couldn't use his eye bloodline, the skeletal division leader was the main force. Chapter 566. Even now, the skeletal division leader's strength had far surpassed when it was the Scarlet Moon division leader. One reason was the large amount of resources in the Purple Saint ruins. The other was the 9 deadly Yin bone. The Earth-grade weapon, the 9 deadly Yin bone, was extremely helpful in increasing its strength and comprehension. This was because every Earth-grade weapon had its own history and the intent of a Void God Realm King. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to create an Earth-grade weapon. Furthermore, the skeletal division leader's battle techniques had increased after fighting with the experts of the 3 sections. At this moment in time, above the limitless ocean, the skeletal division leader was the main force, and its battle power was on par with the Blue Lightning Pirate. On the side, Zhao Feng mainly supported him. He used secret techniques of Wind Lightning, or the Ice Imperial Spear, to suppress the blue-clothed pirate leader. The master and slave duo were able to suppress the Blue Lightning Pirate leader and slowly increase their advantage. Wings of Wind and Lightning. A pair of wings of wind and lightning formed behind Zhao Feng's back. The purple destruction Wind Lightning was the skeleton, and the azure Wind Lightning was the wings. As he continued to comprehend the wings of wind and lightning, not only did it increase his speed, it also increased Zhao Feng's ability to sense and control the power of wind and lightning. Whoosh! Whoosh! With the help of the wings of wind and lightning, Zhao Feng's speed increased dramatically. The pressure on the Blue Lightning Pirate leader increased, and the nearby pirates were killed by Zhao Feng. Arg! Arg! The elder with the walking stick and the scaled male were killed by Zhao Feng's Wind Lightning technique. In just a short while, the Blue Lightning Pirate leader no longer had any pirates around him, and he was fighting by himself. Earth-grade weapon, Ice Imperial Spear. In the center of Zhao Feng's palm, the figure of the spear instantly turned into a dark blue crystal-like spear of an emperor. Shu! Wang! The Ice Imperial Spear trembled, and layers of ice lotuses that looked like blue crystals appeared. The taboo ancient cold power quickly froze everything in the surrounding void sea. In an instant, an ancient ice emperor's cold might that could freeze all things in the world enveloped this part of the world, and it spread to a radius of 10 miles. Zhao Feng did his best to condense the Ice Imperial Spear's power to a radius of 1 to 2 kilometers. The void pirates nearby were all frozen in ice. This divine weapon, could it be an Earth-ranked divine weapon inherited by the Ice Empress? Everyone on the ship felt the Ice Monarch's aura, and they felt as if their bodies and souls had fallen into an endless abyss of ice. It was also an Earth-ranked divine weapon. Zhao Feng's Ice Imperial Spear was even more special. It contained the Tao of inheritance, and could unleash a profound intent that surpassed his own limits. Even someone as strong as the blue-clothed pirate leader was affected by the ancient cold energy. His blood, and even his true yuan were frozen to a certain extent, and a layer of frost formed on the surface of his body. Void Sky Dark Demon Stab. Using this chance, the skeletal division leader threw out its Earth-grade weapon. A dark silver spike of light shot through the air and struck the Blue Lightning Pirate King. Pung! The Blue Thunder Bandit let out a muffled groan, and his face turned pale. The water lightning ripples around him dimmed and shattered, leaving a small bloody hole in his chest. Stay here. Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader unleashed another attack that sent the Blue Lightning Pirate flying and coughing out blood. At the same time, the aura of a primal core cultivator came from behind, and the sound of air being torn could be heard. Blue Thunder Bandit, prepare to die. The sovereign expert led the people on the ship and chased after the Blue Lightning Pirate. You win! The Blue Thunder Bandit's face was gloomy, and the blood at the corner of his mouth had yet to dry. His body turned into a dazzling ball of water lightning, and his aura nearly doubled. With a bang sound, he instantly broke through the encirclement of the 3 venerable experts and flew several miles away. Whoosh! A streak of water and lightning flashed across the limitless ocean. Under the Blue Lightning Pirate's last attack, Zhao Feng's blood churned, and he was slightly injured. However, with the help of his water bloodline, Zhao Feng's injuries were quickly healed. On the other hand, the flower-clothed venerable wanted to beat the dog while it was down. But before he could do anything, he was injured. Wah! The flower-robed venerable elder spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered. His face was pale and extremely depressed. Master, the blue lightning pirate is heavily injured. Should we chase after him? Kill him by the roots. The skeletal division leader became restless. It had been suppressed in the Purple Saint ruins, and now that it was stronger, it could finally have some fun. No need. Zhao Feng only wanted to steal this ship. As for the Blue Lightning Pirate's revenge, he didn't care. After all, he was only passing by the 8 Desolate Mountain and wouldn't stay for long. Furthermore, it wasn't easy to kill the Blue Lightning Pirate. 3 sovereigns working together had allowed him to escape. From this, one could see how strong he was. Next, Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader returned to the ship and started to reorganize. How unfortunate. Zhao Feng found that the sailors on the ship had all died in the clash with the Earth-grade weapon. The power of an Earth-grade weapon was forbidden to those below the Origin Core realm, and just a wisp of it could kill normal True Lord ranks. Furthermore, the cultivation of the sailors on the ship was only at the early stage True Lord rank or late stage. Little friend, this old man has a suggestion. The elder's eyes lit up as he cupped his hands and said politely. At this moment, the people on the ship, including Lulan Jishui, had arrived. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned over and instantly understood. So, under the attack of the pirates just now, more than half of the ships on the ship's side had been destroyed. Their ship didn't have the quality or defense of the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship, which was able to withstand the shockwaves from sovereigns. Little friend, since you don't have a crew, it'll be hard for you to control the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. Why don't we go together? We'll provide the crew. The flower-robed venerable smiled. Go together? We don't seem to be going in the same direction. Zhao Feng paused. He was heading in the direction of the 8 Desolate Mountain, while the ship was heading in the opposite direction. Little friend, if you can help us get to the Pure Moon spiritual sect, the Lulan family, and I will be extremely grateful. Furthermore, this is also a great fortune for you. The flower-robed old man voiced out his proposal. What? Go to the Pure Moon spiritual sect? Zhao Feng almost rolled his eyes. He had offended all 3 two-star sects in the Tianlu Islands. The Pure Moon spiritual sect's enmity with Zhao Feng was even deeper. In the 2 trips to the Purple Saint ruins, Zhao Feng had killed countless experts from the Pure Moon spiritual sect, including sovereigns at the Origin Core realm. Luckily, Zhao Feng was currently at the edge of the Tianlu Islands, so he didn't need to worry too much. Little friend, you might not know, the Pure Moon spiritual sect is a 2.5-star superpower. With your talent, if you enter the Pure Moon spiritual sect with Lady Lulan. The elder tried his best to persuade. Stop. There's no room for discussion. Zhao Feng stopped him. Seeing Zhao Feng's decisiveness, the elder and Lulan Jishui felt helpless. If that's the case, then I won't force you. But we have to repay you for saving our lives. The elder and Lulan Jishui looked at each other. Immediately, the 2 sincerely asked Zhao Feng to go to the Lulan family in the 8 Desolate Mountain. The 8 Desolate Mountain happened to be where Zhao Feng was going. Because the ship was damaged, the elder and company could only go back the way they came. Doesn't Benefactor have no crew? Go to the 8 Desolate Mountain, and you can replenish everything you need. Jishui also sincerely invites Benefactor to be a guest at the Lulan family. Lulan Jishui's eyes rippled. The final stage. Zhao Feng stole the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship and defeated the leader of the pirates, winning everyone's respect. Even Lulan Jishui's impression of Zhao Feng changed, and she started to admire him. 8 Desolate Mountain? Zhao Feng fell into deep thought. According to Lulan Jishui, the 8 Desolate Mountain was the only resupply in the surrounding ocean. Once Zhao Feng left this place, it would be hard for him to find another place to resupply. Okay. Zhao Feng also wanted to take a look at the foreign scenery. After entering the outer world, all they saw was the limitless ocean. Not long after, the people that were originally on the ship met up on the gray metal ship. Zhao Feng didn't need to worry, as there were sailors among them who could control the ship. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship is one of the legendary ships in the 8 Desolate Mountain. Its defense and speed are top tier, and it's good at disguising itself. It can hide in the depths of the ocean. The quality of the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship made the crew extremely excited. Not long after, the gray metal ship flew through the mist. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship was 100 feet long and was split into 2 levels. There was also an observation deck at the top. The interior was split into dozens of rooms. At the center of the ship was a small hall, and below it was the control room. As long as we have enough primal crystal stones and other materials, we will be able to drive the Void Ocean ship for a long journey in the endless Void Ocean. Zhao Feng took up the responsibility and entered the captain's cabin. The captain's room was decorated with metal and could block spiritual sense from the outside world. It was suitable for resting and cultivating. After a while, Zhao Feng, the flower-robed sovereign, and Lulan Jishui sat in the center of the hall. From the 2 of them, Zhao Feng learned about the 8 Desolate Mountain, the 3 two-star sects, and even the entire Tianlu Island zone. Uncle Huang, Miss Lulan, why did the 2 of you return to the 8 Desolate Mountain? Zhao Feng asked. The flower-robed sovereign explained bitterly. The ship was damaged, the journey was long, and I'm heavily injured. That's one of the reasons. Furthermore, the Blue Lightning Pirate has a sworn brother, who's the leader of the Pirate Alliance in the 8 Desolate Mountain. Zhao Feng instantly understood. The Pure Moon spiritual sect was very far away, and it would be very difficult to reach there without a ship. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship sped through the limitless ocean. At a certain moment, a clear fluctuation of yuan qi appeared in front of them. In their vision, the outline of a magnificent mountain range, surrounded by a layer of blue light, stood in the sea of nothingness. Primal qi of heaven and earth flowed here. From the limitless ocean, the 8 Desolate Mountain was like a large piece of jade. Brother Zhao, we're about to enter the zone, the flower-robed sovereign reminded. At this moment, the 2 of them were already familiar with Zhao Feng. Zone. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye slightly opened, and saw an invisible force field that covered the entire 8 Desolate Mountain. Chapter 567. The gray metal ship slowly approached the 8 Desolate Mountain. It was about to enter the inner region. Zhao Feng focused, because he hadn't experienced the journey from the inner region to the outer region. Soon, the gray metal ship entered the outer region of the 8 Desolate Mountain. The layer of blue aura was faint. Wang, on the surface of the metal ship, tiny colorful sparks appeared. The resistance is getting stronger. My body is getting heavier. Zhao Feng's body felt slightly uncomfortable. As the ship flew, the resistance became stronger. The limitless ocean and the inner region were 2 different worlds. Without reaching a certain level of cultivation, it was hard to break through the limits of the inner region and enter the limitless ocean. Therefore, some of the natives at the bottom of the island zone didn't know the secrets of the outer region and thought that the land they were on was a continent. As they flew, gravity, air resistance, and even the heaven-earth yuan qi were changing. In essence, the 8 Desolate Mountain could be seen as a tiny island region. It had its own domain. Heaven-earth yuan qi and other factors are all extremely close to the Azure Flower continent. Zhao Feng sensed. These changes were only secondary, and the greatest change was the difference in spatial levels. In his vision, the outline of the mountain range originally looked to be a few thousand miles wide. However, as he entered the inner region, he found that the mountain range in his vision kept on expanding. It kept on expanding. This feeling was like a speck of dust, or a blade of grass carrying an unknown world. The actual size of the 8 Desolate Mountain is probably a few 100,000 miles, comparable to the cloud area. Zhao Feng's body slowly adapted to the environment. A while later, the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship sank slightly and entered the domain, traveling through the space. This feeling was like entering the inner region from outer space. Blue sky, white clouds, sun. Zhao Feng inspected the inner region. It wasn't much different from the Azure Flower continent. However, if he didn't leave the outer region, he would never know that the 8 desolate mountain and the Azure Flower continent were just specks of dust in the vast world. Little friend, have you never gone from the inner region to the outer region? The flower-robed venerable smiled. Lulan Jishui explained with a smile. There's a difference in the spatial level between the realm and the void sea. Legend has it that all the realms of various sizes in the void sea are the various specks of dust that were scattered in the fan universe after the primordial wilderness shattered. Zhao Feng nodded. He had heard many myths and legends about this world. The world was collectively known as the fan universe. The fan universe was said to be a new world formed after the primeval wilderness shattered. After the primordial era, it experienced the primordial era, and a few other long eras before it gradually evolved into the boundless fan universe. There were only 2 types of spatial matter in the fan universe. One was the void sea, which was not suitable for ordinary lifeforms to live in. The other type was various domains of various sizes. These domains, on the other hand, were suitable for humans and many other creatures to inhabit. They gave rise to a splendid civilization. The 8 desolate mountain is located at the edge of the Tianlu Islands, and it's close to the enormous 1,000 flowing islands. It's one of the transfer points between the 2 clusters. The flower-robed venerable introduced. Hearing this, Zhao Feng's thoughts became clearer. Right now, he needed to leave the Tianlu Islands and enter another island zone. As expected, the next stop was the 1,000 flowing islands. Zhao Feng's birthplace, the Azure Flower continent, was part of the Azure Islands, and it was next to the Tianlu Islands where the 3 sects were located. However, the distance between the island zones was extremely far. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. Unknowingly, he had become extremely far away from his hometown. The destination he was about to reach was many times further than this. After entering the island zone, the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship's speed was still extremely fast, close to the speed of normal sovereigns. If it was in the limitless ocean, the speed would be 10 times, or even dozens of times faster. Half a day later, at the peak of the mountain, there was a majestic city made of yellow crystal. The heaven-earth energy here was several times denser than in other areas. This is the sacred land of the 8 desolate mountain, 8 desolate sacred city. The flower-robed venerable had a complicated expression as he stood on the deck of the ship. The ship slowly approached 8 desolate sacred city. Everyone else went to the observation deck, at the top of the void ship. 8 desolate sacred city is the center of the 8 desolate mountain, and is the trading center of the limitless ocean. The 3 great families all have forces here. Lulan Jishui looked at the sacred city with a special feeling. The Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship's aura was powerful as it slowly approached 8 desolate sacred city. The 8 desolate sacred city gathered all the elites of the 8 desolate mountain zone, and its status was similar to the sacred alliance of the Azure Flower continent. Apart from that, there were also some outside experts. Everyone here was at or above the true spirit realm. Limitless ocean ship. What a powerful aura! Oh my god! Isn't that the Blue Lightning pirate ship? How dare a pirate ship enter the 8 desolate sacred city? Someone come! Chaos broke out within 8 desolate sacred city. The limitless ocean ship was something that could travel through the limitless ocean, and it was a luxury for the experts here. Luckily, this was the sacred city, a trading center of the ocean. If it was a normal place, many experts wouldn't even have seen a limitless ocean ship before. Even more so, the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship was a legendary ship near the 8 desolate mountain. So. After a moment of chaos in 8 desolate sacred city, dozens of powerful auras soon flew out. The one leading them was an elder at the origin core realm. Enforcer Sovereign. Everyone's respectful gazes followed the elder. As the transit point of the sea, how could sacred city of 8 desolation not have supremacies overseeing it? Furthermore, there was definitely more than 1 or 2 sovereigns here. Old Lin. The sovereign in multicolored clothes flew out and greeted the enforcer sovereigns. They were all sovereigns from the 8 desolate mountain zone, so they knew each other. Don't misunderstand. This pirate ship is our spoils of war. The sovereign in multicolored clothes explained. A while later, the experts above the sacred city did a simple inspection before letting them in. Old Huang, with your strength, you think you can seize this legendary void pirate ship? The enforcer sovereign's eyes were filled with doubt. The law enforcement venerable knew the origin of this pirate ship very well. The Blue Lightning Pirates, one of the top 10 pirate groups near the Eight Desolate Mountain. How could the strength of the Blue Lightning Pirate be compared to normal sovereigns? The sovereign in multicolored clothes smiled awkwardly. Actually, this ship is our spoils of war. That youth. The enforcement elder turned to Zhao Feng, his eyes bulging, the doubt on his face intensifying. Him? Are you kidding me? The law enforcement venerable was a little annoyed. He snorted coldly and turned to leave. Obviously, he thought that the sovereign in multicolored clothes was purposely mocking him. So, the ship entered the sacred city and headed toward the territory of the Lulan family. The law enforcer watched as the people on the void pirate ship left. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed as if he had thought of something. A painting soon appeared in the enforcer's hand. On the painting was a blue-haired youth. His left eye was blue and would occasionally turn azure. On the shoulder of the blue-haired youth was a silver-gray cat. Beside him, there was a skeleton floating in the air, filled with smoke. This youth seems to be the mysterious youth that the three sects have put a bounty on. The enforcer was surprised. Not long ago, the Eight Desolate Mountain received news from the Pure Moon spiritual sect. A person that was wanted by the three sects of the Tianlu Islands. This was something that only happened once in 1,000 years. Furthermore, the bounty this time was even more tempting. It was enough to make even sovereigns go crazy. Furthermore, the combined wealth of the three families in the Eight Desolate Mountain wasn't as tempting as the bounty. However, this youth's hair and eyes are normal. There's no cat or skeleton next to him. The enforcer's eyes twinkled with uncertainty. Although he wasn't sure, his hand holding the painting was already trembling. It had been a long time since Zhang Xian had become an exalted realm expert, and his heart was beating rapidly. Eight Desolate Sacred City, in the hall of the Lulan family. Zhao Feng, Lulan Jishui, and the upper echelon of the Lulan family were all present. As for the sovereign in multicolored clothes, he was heavily injured and had gone into seclusion to recover. The head of the Lulan family was a kind middle-aged man who had reached the half-step origin core realm. At the same time, he was Lulan Jishui's father. I'll have to trouble little friend Zhao this time. The head of the Lulan family expressed his gratitude several times. Although he was suspicious of Zhao Feng's strength and how he stole the limitless ocean ship, Zhao Feng was still the person who saved his daughter's life. But no matter what, the other party was the savior of his daughter, Lulan Jishui. He had to treat him as a distinguished guest and treat him well. Zhao Fan, you should stay a few more days in the Eight Desolate Mountain. In the tens of thousands of years of history, there are many legends here. It's not any weaker than some of the islands. Lulan Jishui smiled and was extremely friendly. Ever since she returned to the Lulan family, her eyes had been on this youth half the time. There was no other genius in the Eight Desolate Mountain that could be compared to him. This was because Lulan Jishui's early-stage true lord rank cultivation was one of the top prodigies in the Eight Desolate Mountain, similar to Yu Tianhao's status in the Azure Flower continent. I can't stay for long. I have to leave today. Zhao Feng shook his head and said. Although he couldn't predict what the three sects would do, the earlier he left, the safer he would be. Zhao Feng knew this. Out of caution, he changed his name to Zhao Fan. Before he left, Zhao Feng needed to borrow the power of the Lulan family to get some good sailors to help control the limitless ocean ship. The Lulan family was one of the three big families in the Eight Desolate Mountain. Their status was similar to the 10 great clans of the Azure Flower continent. In reality, the difference between the three big families and one-star sects wasn't big. However, in recent years, the Lulan family had started to decline and was about to fall out of the three big families. Half of the Lulan family's hopes were placed on Lulan Jishui. If Lulan Jishui could join the Pure Moon spiritual sect and be put in an important position, the Lulan family's status would rise. Chapter 568. A couple of hours later. Within the Lulan family, dozens of people stood on a patch of grass. They were all dressed differently, and there were men, women young and old. Their cultivations were all at the true lord rank. Some of them had burly figures and ferocious expressions. It was obvious that they were not easy to deal with. Little friend Zhao, according to your request, these people are all willing to be the crew of the ship. Their strength is at the peak of the 8 desolate mountain. The head of the Lulan family smiled and said. Zhao Feng faintly nodded his head. The Lulan family was indeed worthy of being one of the 3 big families of the 8 desolate mountain. They had found so many people who met the requirements so quickly. Zhao Feng's requirement for the crew was to be at least at the early stage true lord rank. The age of the crew couldn't be too old. It was best if they weren't over 100 years old. Apart from that, there was another important factor. Zhao Feng wanted to confirm the personality of each crew member and make sure they followed him loyally. The simpler their background, the better. The time limit was 20 years. Of course, Zhao Feng's rewards were also extremely generous. The amount of primal crystal stones and other resources each year was several times, or even 10 times that of normal crew members. Not only that, Zhao Feng also promised that as long as they passed the 1-year trial, each crew member would receive a piece of an Earth-grade weapon. Even the head of the Lulan family clucked his tongue at such a generous reward. A piece of Earth-grade weapon was extremely precious even for the Lulan family. On the other hand, once Zhao Feng's crew passed, they would receive a piece of Earth-grade weapon. This is only the initial reward. It doesn't include the later rewards. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and said, of course, there was no lack of people who doubted Xiao Chen's words. The reward is very tempting. Don't tell me they want us to become void pirates in disguise? Some people murmured. Hee, with such a generous reward, even if we become pirates, it won't be a loss. Even more people were ready to make a move. I only need 8 crew members, all of whom are part of the logistics team. As for fighting members, you're still too far away. Zhao Feng said mercilessly. All he needed was a few people to help him control the ship for the long and arduous journey. Zhao Feng had no way of estimating how long this journey would take, or how far it would take. But one thing was certain. During the long journey, Zhao Feng spent most of his time on the ship, comprehending and cultivating. Next, Zhao Feng began to strictly select the 8 crew members. The Lulan family head and Lulan Jishui watched with interest. Soon, Zhao Feng's 8 crew members were almost confirmed. The crew members who were chosen were ecstatic. Patriarch. In the distance, a figure in a hurry landed beside the Lulan Patriarch and half knelt on the ground. Bahuang Holy City Alliance. The Lulan Patriarch received a special token and received some information. After reading the message, the head of the Lulan clan's expression suddenly changed. He subconsciously glanced at Zhao Feng's back. Jishui, the head of the Lulan clan, shot a glance at his daughter, and she hurriedly pulled her to a secluded corner. Zhao Feng, the target of the 3 Supreme Sects bounty? Lulan Jishui's face was filled with shock, and her long eyelashes trembled. There's no mistake. The head of the Lulan clan took a portrait from his subordinate. The blue-haired youth, the skeleton, and the thieving cat in the portrait were extremely clear. How is this possible? How could he be related to the 3 Supreme Sects? Lulan Jishui couldn't believe it. The blue-haired youth and the skeleton in the portrait were extremely similar to Zhao Feng, who had just arrived at the Lulan clan. The only difference was, the youth in front of her had normal hair and eyes. Jishui, the 3 Supreme Sects bounty is extremely rare, and the rewards promised are enough to make the Lulan clan rise. The head of the Lulan clan's voice trembled with excitement. In the Tianlu Islands region, the 3 Supreme Sects were definitely enormous powers that could cover the heavens. Their influence covered dozens of island regions, many smaller regions, and even the vast void sea. As long as they could capture and kill Zhao Feng, it would be enough to change the fate of the Lulan clan. Jishui, I'll immediately notify the head of the family and old Huang. You need to think of a way to stall that brat. The head of the Lulan clan said solemnly. Before he left, he gave this heavy responsibility to his daughter, and took a deep breath. The rise and fall of the Lulan clan may be in your hands. But Zhao Fan is our savior, Lulan Jishui said helplessly. She didn't have the heart to do this, and a struggle appeared on her face. On one side was the fate of the Lulan clan, and on the other was her savior. Lulan Jishui silently returned to Zhao Feng's side. Lady Lulan, I've already confirmed the 8 sailors. Find a vice-captain and housekeeper. That'll be perfect. Zhao Feng seemed very satisfied. With 8 sailors, it would be enough to control the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. There was no need for Zhao Feng to worry. As for adding a vice-captain to manage the ship, that was what the Skeletal Division leader suggested. The Skeletal Division leader needed to refine ghost corpses, and it also needed to cultivate. It didn't want to be a housekeeper and take care of everything for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng obviously agreed to this suggestion. Right now, the Skeletal Division leader was indeed one of his main forces. At this moment, the sailors entered the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship and successfully controlled it. Lulan Jishui, on the other hand, had a worried look. Lady Lulan. A steady and powerful hand patted her shoulder. Lulan Jishui's delicate body trembled. She looked at that pair of calm and clear eyes, which didn't have any impurities. It doesn't matter if you're Zhao Fan or Zhao Feng. You're both Jishui's savior. You should leave the 8 desolate mountain as soon as possible. Lulan Jishui gritted her teeth and smiled bitterly. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. There was only one reason why Lulan Jishui could call him by his name. Looks like I've underestimated the 3 sections. Zhao Feng let out a long sigh. He had been sent to the edge of the Tianlu Islands by the Purple Saint Partial Spirit. He thought that as long as he didn't stay too long, no one would recognize him. However, it was obvious that the 3 sects had other methods to send news of Zhao Feng to the 8 desolate mountain. If you don't leave now, it'll be too late. Lulan Jishui's voice was filled with panic as she pushed Zhao Feng's arm. Okay. Zhao Feng looked at Lulan Jishui and had a good impression of her. Get ready to leave. Zhao Feng immediately ordered the 8 sailors to control the ship. Wang, a layer of grayish-blue wind appeared on the gray metal ship as it rose into the air. However, right at this moment, the sound of flying came from afar. Brat, where do you think you're going? An old voice came from afar, and the heaven-earth Yuan Qi howled as the aura of an origin core realm came from the clouds. Not good. The patriarch is here. Lulan Jishui's expression changed dramatically. At the same time, a familiar aura of an origin core realm came from the Lulan family. Zhao Feng could tell that this aura belonged to the injured sovereign Old Man Huang. Shua. Lulan Jishui's figure flashed as she landed on the deck of the ship and grabbed Zhao Feng's arm. Lady Lulan, what are you doing? The fragrance of a young girl flashed across his nose. Zhao Feng was dumbfounded. One of his arms was already hugging Lulan Jishui's swan-like neck, and a warm and fragrant jade filled his arms. In all of this, Zhao Feng was in a passive state. Hurry up and use me to escape from the Lulan family. Lulan Jishui said angrily. Zhao Feng finally understood, and his face was filled with shock. He couldn't believe Lulan Jishui's courage and decision. Actually, you don't need it at all. Zhao Feng shook his head, but seeing Lulan Jishui's good intentions, Zhao Feng couldn't reject her. If he could use Lulan Jishui to make the 2 sovereign lords of the Lulan family hesitate, it would be much easier for Zhao Feng to escape. After all, fighting 2 sovereigns wasn't easy. So, at this moment, the Lulan patriarch and the Venerable One arrived at the scene of the incident. Put Jishui down. The sovereign Huang's expression changed as he roared. I'll kill anyone who dares to come near. Zhao Feng grabbed Lulan Jishui's neck. The latter's face was bright red, but no one knew if it was because she couldn't breathe properly, or because of her body's instincts. Stop! The patriarch of the Lulan tribe, and the others shouted. Zhao Feng laughed as he held the prodigy of the Lulan family hostage, and stood on the limitless ocean ship that flew into the sky. However, just as Zhao Feng flew into the sky and hadn't left 8 desolate sacred city, he felt the auras of 2 sovereigns approaching. Patriarch, even if we don't do anything, the other forces in 8 desolate sacred city won't show mercy. The patriarch of the Lulan family had a dark expression. You mean? The eyes of the patriarch of the Lulan family flashed. Rather than letting others take advantage of us, we might as well do it ourselves. It's worth it to sacrifice my daughter for the fate of the entire Lulan family. The patriarch of the Lulan family's face twisted, and his eyes were filled with madness. Thinking of the reward offered by the 3 supreme sects, the patriarch of the Lulan family's eyes burned with passion. Okay. The patriarch of the Lulan family looked deeply at the patriarch of the Lulan family, and suddenly waved his hand. Since the patriarch of the Lulan family was willing to sacrifice his daughter, what else could he say? Everyone hear my order. Kill Xiaofeng. The patriarch of the Lulan family, and the patriarch of the Lulan family, gave the order at the same time, and chased after Xiaofeng. So at this moment, the blue lightning sea sky ship flew higher and closer to the limitless ocean. Lady Lulan, your family doesn't seem to care about your life. Xiaofeng was slightly surprised and let go of Lulan Jishui. Since the Lulan family didn't care about Lulan Jishui's life, Xiaofeng decided to let her go. Father. Lulan Jishui's face was pale. She was deeply disappointed and helpless. Standing on the deck of the ship, her body swayed. At this moment, her biological father and the rest of her family members had disregarded her life and death as they chased after her menacingly. You're still not leaving? Xiaofeng was slightly surprised and gently pushed Lulan Jishui. I'm not going back. Lulan Jishui bit her lips, causing a few traces of blood to ooze out. Her face was resolute. Don't you need a vice captain on your ship? Jishui can try. Even if I'm your servant. I don't need any compensation. As long as you take me away. Chapter 569. Sure. I'll accept you as the vice captain for now. Xiaofeng agreed. He sympathized with Lulan Jishui. If it wasn't for the fact that she helped Xiaofeng escape the 8 desolate mountain, Lulan Jishui wouldn't be in such a situation. Xiaofeng had a good impression of her, and trusted her personality. Xiaofeng didn't need to worry about Lulan Jishui being the vice captain. From then on, 8 sailors, a vice captain, and the crew of the Void Ocean ship were all in place. Right at this moment. So, the auras of 2 or 3 origin core realm sovereigns, from 8 desolate sacred city charged over from different directions. Not only were there origin core realms, there were also peak true lord ranks and half-step origin core realms, from the 8 desolate mountain. Quick! We can't let the other 2 families succeed. The head of the family, and the head of the Lulan family, leapt toward the pirate ship with worry in their eyes. Facing the auras of several sovereigns approaching, Xiaofeng didn't panic and took out a black flag. You go in first and control the ship toward the 1,000 flowing islands. Xiaofeng told Lulan Jishui to go inside the ship. Shua. He waved the black flag in his hand, and thick gray smoke condensed into a great ghost corpse curse formation, filled with death energy and resentment. Looking from afar, a huge thick gray cloud of smoke engulfed the ship, covering the sky and making it almost impossible to see what was going on inside. Bam! Bam! The power of the attacks from the Lulan family was greatly reduced when they entered the ghost corpse cursed array. Xiaofeng stood in the center of the array unharmed. Even someone as strong as the Lulan patriarch, who was at the origin core realm, could only affect Xiaofeng and the limitless ocean ship. Zhizha. This ghost corpse cursed array now has 60 peak true lord ranks. This array has absorbed the blood essence and souls of countless beasts in the Purple Saint ruins. The power of the curse has exceeded the original ghost corpse cursed array. The skeletal division leader's figure also appeared on the deck. Right now, the might of the ghost corpse curse formation had already reached a certain scale, surpassing his initial expectations. This was mainly due to 2 points. Firstly, the strength of the cursed ghost corpses had increased. Each of them had the strength of a peak true lord rank. Under the mysterious formation, the Een ghost corpse chi and the power of the curse complemented each other, forming a whole. It wasn't as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Secondly, the tempering in the purple saint ruins had absorbed a large amount of beast essence, blood and souls. His curse power had surpassed that of the 100 Graves Forbidden Grounds. In the past, countless beasts at the true spirit realm had died to the ghost corpse cursed array. What a sinister ghost corpse formation. The Lulon Patriarch, the Sovereign Cultivator, and the others exclaimed. The Lulon clan had an old clan head at his peak, and an injured venerable in flowery robes. Even when the two venerables worked together, they could not break the ghost corpse curse formation. Swoosh! Zhao Feng waved the ghost corpse curse formation, summoning a vast amount of ghost corpse resentment energy in the form of a ferocious black flood dragon, wreaking havoc within a radius of 1 to 2 miles. Arg! The nearby True Lord ranks and half-step origin core realms of the Lulon clan were touched by the ghost corpse resentment energy, and their bodies started to rot and turn into a puddle of blood. Blood-curdling screams were incessant. Those below the origin core realm would die for sure. Wu, after the ghost corpse cursed array killed some experts, their remaining resentment energy was absorbed by the ghost corpse cursed array and strengthened the power of the curse. Don't blame me for starting a massacre. Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he waved the black flag and controlled the ghost corpse cursed array to attack and defend. Damn it! The injured sovereign in flowery robes was eroded by the ghost corpse resentment energy, and his face went pale white. Now, the power of the curse contained within the ghost corpse cursed array had exceeded the 100 Graves Forbidden Grounds, and would affect even those at the origin core realm, let alone those who were heavily injured. Plop! The sovereign in flowery robes fell from the air with a pale white face. Old Huang, the head of the Lulon clan, used the earth-grade weapon to barely keep his life, and caught the sovereign in flowery robes. Oh heavens! He raised his head, and couldn't help but feel regret. At this moment in time, only the head of the Lulon clan was left fighting against the ghost corpse cursed array. Everyone else was dead. The expression of the head of the Lulon clan was extremely ugly. Who? The black flood dragon's smoke-like resentment power howled through the air, forcing the old patriarch to retreat. 9 deadly een bone. Suddenly, a huge dark silver bone spike that was dozens of meters long shot out from the ghost corpse curse formation, dragging layers of een death spikes behind it. Fiendish light burned and spread to half of the sky. Who? The power of the 9 deadly een bone thorn and the ghost corpse formation overlapped and complemented each other. It was like a bone dragon of death, its power rising to a whole new level. Wah! The head of the Lulon clan was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. There was a small blood-black hole in his chest. His face was purplish-black, and he couldn't stand steadily. Even without the ghost corpse cursed array, the skeletal division leader's 9 deadly een bone wasn't something he could block. The 3 families of the 8 Desolate Mountain are only SOSO. Zhao Feng faintly laughed. If it weren't for the fact that Lulon Jishui was begging for mercy, he could have taken the lives of the 2 sovereigns. Whoosh! At this moment, the blue lightning sea sky ship broke through the barrier of the 8 Desolate Mountain and created a splash of sparks. They were about to enter the outside world. The 8 Desolate Mountain became smaller and smaller, and it turned from an endless world into a mountain range that was several thousand miles wide. Wang! The instant the blue lightning sea sky ship entered the limitless ocean, its speed increased by more than 10 times. The air resistance was extremely weak in the limitless ocean, and matter was like a feather. Brat! Don't even think about running. Within the 8 Desolate Mountain, another 3 sovereigns appeared. They were from other families and forces. These 3 sovereigns were at the early stage, middle stage, and late stage small origin core realms. The strongest late stage small origin core realm was at least on the same level as the blue lightning pirate. Faster! Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of fighting, but his goal was to escape. Within the blue lightning sea sky ship, Lulon Jishui and company were trying their best to control the ship and increase its speed to the maximum. The blue lightning sea sky ship's speed was the fastest, and it could be raised to the level of a normal sovereign. However, it expended a lot of primal crystal stones. Whoosh! Whoosh! The three sovereigns chased after the blue lightning sea sky ship and unleashed wave after wave of attacks. Master, aren't we going to finish off these three flies first? The skeletal division leader was slightly impatient. We shouldn't fight them. Let's get away first. Zhao Feng's expression was calm. The 8 desolate mountain wasn't small, and they had only disturbed the experts of the 8 desolate sacred city. If they fought too long near the 8 desolate mountain, they would attract even more enemies. Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader could deal with 2 or 3 small origin core realms, but it would be troublesome if there were more. Furthermore, the origin core realm was split into the small origin core realm and the great origin core realm. If a great origin core realm came, they would be in danger. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the battle power of a great origin core realm was several times stronger than a small origin core realm. The difference between the two was like the difference between a true lord rank and a sovereign. Whoosh, the blue lightning sea sky ship flew faster and faster. In less than an hour, the ship had traveled several dozen thousand miles. Where do you think you're going? The 3 venerable ones suddenly joined forces, and a golden chain tore through the sky like a golden chain dragon as it coiled around the blue lightning sea sky ship. This golden chain was a pseudo-earth-grade weapon, and it was extremely tough. The 3 sovereigns teamed up and used the pseudo-earth-grade weapon to tie down the ship and the ghost corpse cursed array. Looking over, in the sea of fog, there was a big ball of gray smoke, entangled by a golden chain. Not good. The sailors of the blue lightning sea sky ship started to panic. Even if they tried to fly, they would drag down the 3 sovereigns. Attack! Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader didn't hesitate at all and attacked. Hu Wu, a surge of ghost corpse resentment appeared from the ghost corpse cursed array and turned into a black serpent that leapt toward the 3 sovereigns. 9 deadly yin bone. A gigantic dark silver bone spike that was dozens of feet long dragged layers of deathly shadows behind it, its fiendish light burning as it spread across half the sky. The skeletal division leader's earth-grade weapon attacked at almost the same time. The 2 attacks stacked on top of each other and were unleashed at the same time. Boom! The 3 sovereigns were caught off guard. They had just teamed up to stall the limitless ocean ship, and they didn't even have time to celebrate. They didn't expect Zhao Feng to react so quickly. Instantly, the 3 sovereigns at the origin core realm were surrounded by the power of the ghost corpses, and the 9-kill Inbone spear clashed with them head-on. Wah! The early-stage small origin core realm sovereign spat out a mouthful of blood as the ghost corpse resentment seeped into his body. Part of his flesh was already rotting, and his essence was being eroded. Before the 3 sovereigns could counterattack, another change occurred. Earth-grade weapon, Ice Imperial Spear. In the center of Zhao Feng's palm, the figure of the spear quickly turned into a crystal-clear dark blue Emperor Spear. Whoosh! The Ice Imperial Spear tore through the air for the first time, unleashing a blue crystalline Ice Lotus Spear projection that froze everything in its path. See! The bodies of the 3 sovereigns froze as a layer of frost appeared on them. Whoosh! The Ice Imperial Spear radiated an ancient coldness as it pierced through the injured early-stage small origin core realm sovereign. Woo! The small origin core realm sovereign's body froze before shattering with a crack. He was the first to be pierced through by the Ice Imperial Spear. How could he not die? The expressions of the other 2 sovereigns changed dramatically. In just the blink of an eye, 2 waves of attacks had taken the life of a sovereign. On top of that, the other 2 sovereigns were still affected by the ghost corpse resentment. Void Skying Demonic Stab. The second Earth-grade weapon appeared almost at the same time as the Ice Imperial Spear pierced through the sovereign. At this moment, the frost on the other 2 sovereigns hadn't melted yet. Pung! Borrowing the power of the ghost corpse cursed array, the 9 evil Inbone thorn pierced through the air and pierced through another primal core realm sovereign, as if it had broken through space. Arg! The middle stage small origin core realm sovereign died, and his body rotted and turned into a puddle of blood. The second sovereign had fallen. Go! Zhao Feng waved the black flag, and used the power of the Ghost Corp's cursed array to devour the essence of the two sovereigns and strengthen the power of the Ghost Corp's cursed array. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.